for you?
I'm well. Good morning.
Tired?
No. Why would I be?
Of course not.
Rain delay, extra innings.
Yeah, you're fine.
Woo.
It's not the morning show. It's the midday show.
The
You got
midday.
plenty of sleep. You're
Lots
good.
of it.
Don't worry about it. Well, we're going to get into that rain delay and that game coming up later. I ended up in a little bit of a precarious situation last night because of that game. We're going to get to the Eagles here in just a second. But I was watching it on the phone as I took the train back. I went and met a friend for dinner out there in Conshohocken, took the train back, got to the Jefferson Station, was going to walk back to my apartment. Started to rain.
Yes.
In my head, I'm like, oh, all right, raining. Let me duck into a bar here and watch the end of the Phillies game. Not realizing
You were in Philadelphia. The Phillies are also in Philadelphia. Where
it's raining, yes,
Correct.
in Chinatown, which means it's also going to be raining in South Philadelphia.
You're right.
So I stepped in there. I got to see Duran give up the home run. And then I got to the bottom of the ninth. And then I saw the rain on the TV, and I was like, that reminds me of, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was raining in Philadelphia,
Yeah,
which means
where you were standing.
Correct. So I was left with the choice of staying there, being stuck there.
Hour plus rain delay.
Yep. Or calling the lift. And I was like, I could stick it out for part of this rain delay. After about minute 25 of Ken Rosenthal being on the television in front of me, I was like, all right, it's time to call the lift.
Yeah, I got a text from, I think it was Kevin Cooney.
Yeah.
Like, who does the programming? And I was like, I don't control the programming. There's all kinds of stuff that we filter through.
The 08 video yearbook is always the one for me.
Then it was when it was the Duran. So like our most recent Clubhouse edition has the behind the scenes.
When that ended, I knew I had stayed way too long.
So there you go.
But shout out to Yakitori Boy for giving me the nice.
Boy's a good team.
Yeah, no, they gave me a nice little place of shelter, and then I got home, got to watch the end of that game, and I was asleep. I'm sorry that you had to stay up so late. But we'll get to the Phillies and the conversation there. To the Eagles. Yesterday we had on Jeff Mosher, which love having Mosher on Tuesday so far during football season. And one of the things he talked about with us was what they could have learned, what they could have taken away from week 3. And you know very clearly from talking with me on Monday what I feel like they could have learned, what they should take away from that.
Absolutely.
The aggression offensively. And I sit around and I thought about yesterday the conversation we had with Jeff Mosher, the conversation we had for the first 2 days. And I don't want to say I come off as ungrateful, but I think I come off as a little ungrateful talking about a team that's won as much as it has with the identity it has.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is 17-0 in his last 17 starts.
Yeah. Well,
and you're like,
start, finish.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Gonna catch you on that one. That Commanders game he started, he just didn't finish the game. I keep seeing that graphic pop up, and I'm like, you gotta, it's like
it's close enough.
It's like the Penn State Super Bowl graphic. Remember when they put that out there? A Penn State players appeared in every Super Bowl, and then it's like, except what, like 5, 10, whatever it was. It's like I keep seeing the 17-0 thing. Like,
it's
true.
Close enough.
Yeah.
They've won 19 of their last 20.
Well, that's the stat I like.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that stat.
And yet you're ungrateful.
That leads me to the question. We're talking about identity. When does this football team have to have the 2025 identity established by?
I mean, when did they establish their identity last year?
Week
7?
Yeah. 6?
In
like
that
after
range?
week 5, like after the Browns
so we
game?
had the bye, and then you had the Browns game, you had the Jaguars game. I would say after those games, you were like, okay, defensive, run game. Those are the 2 things that really stuck out about the team that finally got on the roll and started to look more like themselves, or who they would become, I should say.
And with that, they've told us so far in terms of what they have as an identity as a group is pretty much the protect the ball at all costs, win the turnover battle at all costs. That is what I would establish so far as the 3 weeks identity of what you have in the Philadelphia Eagles, and it goes back beyond that. But offensively, this week when we talk about what their approach should be, and yesterday Patulino's presser, they were in attack mode. Very feeble attack in that first half, but attack mode nonetheless. Offensively, we talked with Jeff Mosher yesterday. He talked about starting with Saquon Barkley and the lesson from that game. And maybe that it's not so much you have to start with Saquon Barkley at this point. Take a listen to what Jeff Mosher had to say yesterday on here with us on the Midday Show.
One lesson they can learn is that you don't have to get Saquon Barkley going by running him, and that if you can get yourself an efficient passing offense to start with, that could actually help take some bodies away from Saquon. Almost thinking in reverse, because clearly the way they've been trying to do it, which is starting off with Saquon and then hoping that opens up their pass offense, hasn't worked very well. So you would like to see that adjustment put them ahead. So I don't think that there should be any fear.
And this adjustment that he speaks of instead of going out there and relying on the 2024 identity of being the run-first, run-centric team that ends up setting up the pass. To me, are we wrong to ask a team to adjust, to switch from that, given how successful we know they've been? Again, 19 of the last 20. How many games they've won? Because I've spent the first 2 days of this week like, hey, that passing offense looked great the second half. Let's start with that. Let's go after that. Am I wrong to ask for that adjustment, given just the success they've had with this identity?
No, because for 2 reasons, in my opinion. One, because everybody's adjusted. It was one of the overriding things that we talked about all summer, right? People know it works against the Eagles. They saw it in the Super Bowl to a certain degree. Listen, we all know what that score was. You know what score I recognize? I recognize 40-6.
Yes.
I don't recognize any other score. That's what the final score was in my book. But they all knew, every team looking at that, bottle up Saquon Barkley, you'll solve the one problem. What you won't solve is obviously the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, who Dallas Goedert had a great postseason. But so everybody has changed and adjusted, so you have to adjust. So you cannot rely on, and let's listen to what the Eagles have said themselves. We can't rely on last year. We're not going to go back to last year. We're not going to talk about last year. In that same vein, you have to be able to move forward. You can take what you learned from last year and use that, but I think everything is completely different now with the way the teams are playing them. It's not just about stacking the box. It's about getting pressure on Jalen Hurts, which we did not see to the degree. It's about trying to force him into these mistakes, which is why we've seen this kind of vanilla offense, I think, for the first couple of weeks. So for me, whatever you thought was on paper was going to happen week 1 and week 2, because you know that's what you worked on in July and August, that's all gone. You have to have completely new scripts now because of the way that they're playing Jalen Hurts. You saw it with Steve Spagnuolo. You saw it obviously last week where they're trying to get those pressures. And so he has to get the ball out lightning quick. And these decisions have to be made lightning quick. And that's where the aggressiveness does need to come in actuality, not in this game plan that we saw supposedly in the first half. In the second half, you did see that aggressiveness, and it was just these quick decisions. It was a big difference when they had Fred Johnson as opposed to Matt Pryor, obviously, and he had a little bit more time. But, yeah, I don't think it's too much to ask to say, all right, I know you thought that you knew what you were going to do, but that's not working right now, so completely flip the script.
And I don't think I'm wrong to ask
selfish.
it, but I'm having the self-reflection of you do 2 shows this week. We're talking so much about the offense. I'm sitting there like,
they're 3-0.
Yeah,
They've
good
won 19 of
3-0.
the last 20. You're thinking, why am I complaining? It's not complaining. It's about knowing what's to come.
and what's to come for me has to be this offense realizing if they just want to start it out with, hey, Saquon is going to get the ball first down. Like I think it was Jeff Mosher yesterday told us it was 10 of 17 plays between the touchdown and that big completion to A.J. Brown. 10 of the 17 plays featured a Barkley run or a Barkley catch, or they were trying to get Barkley into the offense regardless. Over 50% of the plays. And this is a guy who last year I still believe should have been the MVP of the league.
Agreed.
Who was the best player in football, voted on by his peers a season ago. It's not to take the ball away from him, but it's to realize that this offense has to open up creatively to everyone else. And like last year, the summit of the offensive linemen to be like, run first. Hey, man, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dotson, you've been here over a year. You go in there in that office too. Why not? You could play Goddard. Go in there and, hey, remember us? Like, get us the football. I think, like, to me,
we're open because they're stacking the box.
Right. I question whether or not, and this is where I want to open it up to all of you out there at 610-632-0975. When you hear the conversation that we have about the offense, are we wrong to want to change what the identity's been, given the success that they've had? They're going to continue to try and prioritize winning the turnover battle over everything. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, this idea of we run through Saquon and then everything else happens, that's kind of the philosophy that talking with Jeff yesterday and talking over the last 2 days is kind of what I'm looking for them to shed. And it's not that you're not giving the ball to the best running back in football. It's that you're getting that offense in gear that opens up more for the best running back in football.
I think you can take a lot from how the Rams ran their offense in the first half. Kyron Williams was able to get going, but he wasn't solely featured.
Well, and that's also because the Eagles were respecting what they had in terms of a pass game.
Because they had Puka Nacua, who was very good, and obviously Devontae Adams as well, who I think brings a different level to them. But Puka Nacua is a dynamic receiver. But you have two dynamic I looked at that first half of the Rams, and I thought this is exactly what the Eagles should be doing. You have a great running back and two dynamic receivers. What's going on? And a good what's going on? And yet the Eagles Well, they did it in the second half, so
Now,
shouldn't complain too much. But
no, but it's fair to ask.
the first
which
thing I
is-
thought was,
yeah.
why aren't we doing that?
So I'm curious for people at 610-632-0975 if you think with the success they've had, if we're wrong this week to be asking what we're asking them in terms of changing their offensive identity. But coming up, we've thrown comparisons around to the last time the Eagles made a Super Bowl appearance, 2022, and the year after in 2023 when it comes to the offensive coordinator. Chase Daniel, who has made a career now in the media of making us upset, tried again this week to try and make us upset. Well, yeah, he's made a career after his career of carrying clipboards to make us
remarkable.
upset. Eagles this year remind him not of a dominant Chiefs team that's running through the league, but remind him of a familiar Eagles team that he watched collapse. We'll play that for you coming up from his podcast, Scoop City with The Athletic, in the next segment. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade and Salciunas, 6 to 10 a.m.
I can say the same thing, that Jalen Hurts earned his right to have that moment on the sideline because he's the damn Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
And he won that Super Bowl. Obviously, the defense was tremendous, but by throwing the football last year. You saw the second half, a totally different Eagles team from the first two games, but the same Eagles team from the last two games of 2024 when they won the conference championship in the Super Bowl. Quote that, damn it.
I'm still in awe that they found a way to win this football game.
Jordan
It's
Davis
incredible.
got some big paws, man.
Incredible. Listen, it wasn't only Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter getting the blocked field goals. I love it, and great plays by them. But it was also the film study coming in that they knew the launch angle from the kicker. They knew exactly where to line up over that guard, how they were going to get pressure and then immediately get their hands up. It was just, it's incredible. A lot of guys will just mail it in on special teams, just mail it in on a field goal block.
Well, they certainly didn't mail it in. As a matter of fact, I mean, that to me seems like this is one of those plays where Nick has taken very seriously in practice. And look at what happened. 2 blocked field goals? That doesn't happen in this game.
How about this? So our man Tim McManus, who joins the show every Thursday, covers the Eagles for ESPN, he tweeted out, the last time the Eagles blocked 2 field goals in a single game, it was exactly 50 years ago to the day of yesterday's game.
Was it really?
September 21st, 1975 against the New York Giants. 50 years to the day.
Gives a new meaning to that song. It was the 21st night
of September.
.975thefanatic.com.
Welcome back. Midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn, and coming up, Chase Daniel. saw this, and it was like,
You literally
of
could have
course.
just ended the sentence there, Chase Daniel.
Yeah, we're going to play it for you. It's from the Scoop City podcast from The Athletic, talking about what this Eagles team reminds him of. But we're talking about this team, and early on asking you, are we wrong to be asking this team that has been so successful to change their offensive identity? I don't think we are, but I could see the other side of this argument. People like, hey, they've made it work. More on with microphone. Relax. Like, they're going to make it work again.
Right?
And that's really, I'm curious for the people out there, if you feel like there is something wrong to be asking this team to change from what it's been early on in this show. But another aspect of this is when we mention them winning 19 of 20, that's a dominant record. That is a dominant stretch. It is one of the dominant stretches in the history of the National Football League.
That's the thing. We're living it, so maybe we're too close to realize it. But if if you heard that stat about another team, you'd be like, oh, really?
Right, and that's exactly it. We're living in a
Of course they're
dominant
winning
time
again.
so close to that dominant team. So we obviously have what we pick apart week in and week out, and it's the old office quote, you don't know the good old days till they're gone type of thing. And the good old days of last year, it's funny to look back at the conversations we had last year and what it led to. And now we're still in a period of dominance over this 20 games.
It just doesn't look as good as it should. I think that's it.
That's what I want to get to.
Yeah.
What should dominance look like? What do you believe dominance should look like? Because does dominance look like you got the end result and that's all that mattered? Or is dominance you imposed your will there for however many, 4 quarters worth of game for 60 minutes, and there was never a question of what this was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it can look differently. My initial thought is obviously dominance is just that, like you just dominate everything. But really what it is the expectation and the belief that you will win. That every game you enter, no matter what the score is at any time, you are that team so much so that you're going to win. So to me, I think that's what I think about when I think of a dominant team. When I think about, like, one thing that we've discussed before was how the Chiefs have been that team, most recently, but you're going back to the Patriots. And then for people that are older, I'm sure that's how it was with the Steelers in the 70s and the Niners in the 80s and the Cowboys in the 90s. There was just that expectation. Like, it didn't matter whatever the score was. It didn't matter what the regular season was. They were just going to find a way to win. And that's how this Eagles team has been. So to me, that's the dominance of how this Eagles team is operating right now. There's just that expectation of, like, of course they're going to win. Does it look pretty at all times? No. Does it seem like they're going to win when they're down 19 points and you're in the third quarter? No. But for some reason you're thinking, when they first scored, the first score after they were down 19, the middle of the third quarter, you're thinking, all right, we're probably winning this game.
We got a chance.
Exactly, because I remember that was the way I thought. I was like, they're actually probably going to win this game. Because then the other teams get tight because that's how they know the Eagles operate, because they're going to be able to come back. They can score at will if they need to. 3 touchdowns in the second half operates that remarkably well. To me, that's what the dominance is, the expectation and belief that you will somehow always come out on top.
And that brings me to what Chase Daniel had to say. Because
A guy
dominance...
that's always dominated.
Yes, absolutely.
The clipboard.
Dominated those quarterback meetings,
Yep.
dominated those
Headsets.
paychecks while he was
Hat
sitting
on
there.
backwards.
Yep. Chase Daniel, talking about this Eagles team, said it reminded him of a previous Eagles team. Take a listen to the conversation on the Scoop City podcast this week.
I just think for this team coming off a Super Bowl, still not playing their best game. They still have not played the best version. And they're not supposed to. It's September. I get it. But the fact that they have found ways to win, they're the new Kansas City Chiefs.
Don't stop, Diana. Stop. Don't say the new Kansas City Chiefs. So 2 years ago, you remember how we were like, okay, they're finding ways to win, exactly what you just said, and they're good. And then they started really struggling down the stretch as teams figured them out. I don't think that's going to happen this year. But I do feel the start of the game and the start of this year, even though they're finding ways to win, they haven't been dominant. And I like that they're finding ways to win. I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm going to keep my eye on the next few weeks, is like 2 years ago.
You just poo-pooed Diana saying it's like the Chiefs, and that's exactly what the Chiefs did last year. They started 11-0, and if you ask anyone on that coaching staff, they were like, we shouldn't be winning these games.
So there's the idea. There's the idea from Chase Daniel.
But that's the thing. It is just like the Chiefs.
Right.
And the Patriots from a couple of, now we're going on 10 years ago, but over that. But, they just found ways to win. To me, that is the dominant, that's the overriding thing. It's like, all right, well, they're just going to come out on top.
And winning should be dominance. That should be the ultimate determination
19
of
of your
dominance.
last 20.
But again, when we have these conversations, we're talking about the offense looking a different way. We're talking about what dominance looks like and whether people believe that, you could be a dominant team that, again, was going to win by 1 point if that kick was missed, 1 point if they just fell on the ball. And we're going to get to that dialogue because I see Mike Florio and John Kincade, little Twitter spar going on, and I want to get in on the action with that. But what the difference is in dominating for people, whether it's dominating is just putting W's in the win column or whether it is dominating in terms of putting up the big points. And you listen to Chase Daniel there, and he makes the comparison to 2023, which I think is a lot of people's fears for this year. I think a lot of people came in this year when we talk about, names changed defensively. Your offensive coordinator is an in-house promotion. Through 3 games, a lot of people talking about, the offense looks vanilla. Like, poor Brian Johnson's just chilling somewhere right now. He's with the Commanders, right?
Commanders, I finally looked it up. It's like a quarterback passing coordinator.
The man's trying to game plan for Marcus Mariota in the calendar year 2025, and he's being slandered left and right over the last couple weeks. He's like, can I catch a break?
His ears are burning.
Can I catch a break? Nobody's had it worse than him over the last couple of weeks because at least Patullo's deserved the criticism this year. Johnson's sitting a whole new job having a game plan for Mariota. Poor guy. Poor guy in that sense.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't help us here. But the point being here, I can't yet get to this is a 2023 reincarnation because I think when you look at the way you win in September, you have to win ugly. Some of these games are not particularly pretty. Like the Bills' impressive win is them coming from behind in a way that the Eagles did. The Bills came from behind to beat a postseason team from a year ago and got all the flowers in the world for it.
Look at that. What a game. What a comeback. And nothing about like, wow, how in the world did they get themselves in that position?
Exactly. Which is a very interesting, again, I think it goes to the Eagles being the it brand right now, or the hateable brand, that it team across the NFL. So I'm curious, though, for you also, on top of what we're talking about, the identity here, what should dominance look like to you? What does dominance look like to you at 610-632-0975? Because the Eagles have had one of the most dominant stretches in all of NFL history over the last 20 games, winning 19 of 20. There's only a handful of teams that could say that. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious what people believe in terms of dominance as it relates to getting W's or stacking points. Coming up, a team that the Eagles have dominated in Nick Sirianni's tenure, and honestly predating that, basically during the McVay era, Los Angeles Rams. Kyron Williams earlier this week talking about hatred for the Birds. Have we moved into we own them territory?
I mean, Jared Verse, he talked about it last year. He kind of backed off it a little bit, and now Jared Verse should look at Kyron Williams and be like, "Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it."
We'll play that for you coming up alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Kyle Schwarber hit his 54th home run on the season last night, but the Phillies dropped game 1 of their 3-game series set with the Marlins 6-5. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound and first pitch is set for 6:45. As for the Eagles, we all know that the offense was not flying high in the first half, but then they erupted in the second half offensively, and offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo spoke to the media yesterday about how things changed around.
I think when we look back at the game, we were able to kind of make the adjustments we needed to get it going in the second half. You know, when you get in those moments, you do what you got to do to get it done. And I think that the guys were awesome at just taking into everything we needed to do and sequencing plays together and making plays and executing and getting it done.
Head coach Nick Sirianni will speak to the media today around 12:10, and we'll carry that live press right here on The Fanatic. And the 76ers announced the unveiling of their Hardwood Classic Edition uniform, which celebrates the 25th anniversary of the 2000-2001 76ers AI-led team that reached the NBA Finals against the Lakers. The team would debut the uniform on October 8th against the Raptors, and the jerseys will be available for purchase on October 15th via Sixershop.com. This update's brought to you by the International High Ride Association and the Run a Hybrid, reigniting racing and skilled trades, mentorships, education, legacy. Get your tickets at IHRA.com. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best bridge coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com. So you put out a tweet after the game that I thought perfectly sort of sums up this game. And I would like you to read it. It's about the boos and the cheers.
Yeah.
Because yesterday was a game where it was a tale of two halves.
Because I was waiting for this to come out from people, because you always get those people that'll, and there was only one jabroni on Twitter last night that was trying to do it. Yeah, You had a bad day on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah.
No, bullcrap. Every boo was deserved. Every cheer was earned. That's bottom line. Every boo was deserved. Every cheer was earned. Everybody who booed the Eagles off the field at halftime yesterday, I don't want to hear about anybody saying, oh, front-running fans or anything like that.
No.
That was a boo-worthy performance. And by the way, the Eagles told you that it was.
Yeah, it was.
A.J. Brown, Jordan Mailata, they'll tell you that it was. And every cheer was earned. Because you know what? When you get booed in this town, you earn it. And when you get cheered, you earn it. And boy, yesterday, that was incredible. And to me, I've never seen this city have this team. And when I try to put it into words, I've told you before, and I'll say it again. To be able to root for a team that is the bully on the block, that is the great team, that is the 800-pound gorilla that's swatting the planes out of the sky on top of the Empire State Building. We've got that team. They showed us again yesterday. Believe them. Believe in them.
Yeah.
They can beat you in any one of a number of ways. And yes, this is saying it from somebody who, when they were down 26-7, was saying that in my head, I thought that game was over.
Absolutely.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bowe, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Welcome back in. Midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn hanging out with you alongside Amy Fadul. Early on here talking about the Birds. And we kind of established that this team didn't have its identity established until well into last year. And I don't think once they established that identity, then you also have to have it happen over a couple weeks. So we're talking about like a Halloween conversation from last year, pretty much. I mean, because by the time they had it, by the time we had seen it over a couple of weeks, we were talking about Halloween.
That's true. That's actually a really good point because it was like, when are we going to see it? Are we seeing it now? And you look back and thought, yeah, we did just see it.
Yeah.
It just come to fruition, like week 6 or week 7.
The overall headline of what they want to do is obviously win the turnover battle at all costs. But what some of the things that we get into offensively goes back to what we talked with Jeff Mosher about yesterday, having it start with Saquon, and whether you want to see that just be opened up and, get the ball to your killers, as A.J. Brown said after the
That's
game.
what he says.
And I
I don't disagree. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also ask you the question, what should dominance look like? Is dominance winning 19 of 20? Is dominance winning 40-0? Which came pretty close to the Super Bowl to win 40-0. And then you also had won 19 of 20. So there's a combination of these things. But I'm curious for people out there at 610-632-0975 to answer those questions for us. And when we talk about dominating, what has been so beautiful is this team dominating the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
And the hatred you must feel.
Seeing them again, going to their place again.
Not even from the player perspective, but I just sit back and think about I don't really know what the prototypical Ram fan is. I think that you left a lot behind in St. Louis, but then maybe again
you garnered
didn't.
some of the people from that had moved to LA that didn't have a team, maybe.
Yeah,
or then when the Raiders left, they kind of went with.
Yeah, I want to do something fun on a Sunday, but also you live in LA, so I don't know if that's your idea of fun on a Sunday. I don't know. I don't really know.
You're going to see a lot of bedazzled jerseys out there.
Yeah, I don't really know what the ideal Ram fan is. I don't understand necessarily where that fan base is, because also if I'm thinking about Southern California, all those San Diego fans that were Chargers people, do they go with LA? Because I know when I was out in San Diego, I remember sitting next to a guy at Petco Park that was yeah, they took my football team from me, and I haven't watched football since. And I was that feels like a lie.
That doesn't seem accurate, sir. I feel like the Chargers fans probably stuck with them. It's not like it's that far. They didn't leave in the entire area. Obviously, they moved a couple hours up the road. But I feel like the Rams fans, there's probably people that are hardcore Rams fans from way back, and they're locked in.
Maybe they just oh, good to have back. Nice to see you again.
Home.
Yeah, welcome
my
back
dad,
to the neighborhood.
My grandfather. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not I wouldn't call it a fervent fan base.
Right. So while I'm trying to figure out what exactly a Ram fan is, if I was a Ram fan, watching that game, one, you have the validation in the first half. We can stick with these guys. We're beating them. We're going to get revenge on last year. We should have won. That stupid snow. And as someone in Southern California, for sure, you are sitting there snow should never have an impact on a football game.
Ridiculous. The weather shouldn't play.
Weather should always be 80 degrees and beautiful, all right? And if it can't be that, then put a dome. I can definitely see that mentality out there in L.A. That's definitely the local perspective on the weather. And snow is only for winter weekends once a year where I go up to the mountains.
When I go to Tahoe.
And I pretend to ski. That's what snow's for. And it should be manufactured. It shouldn't be something that bothers my day. But the LA fan watching that game has to be seething by the end. If I think about losing that game on the other side of things, and we talk a lot about sports pain and what we've been through here in this city, the pain that you must have been in to feel that and watch that happen, the hatred they must feel towards Philadelphia is, this week, probably just oozing out of them. But the hatred inside of those four walls as well for the Rams has to be there. And Kyron Williams spoke on dealing with adversity, but also just the hatred he has for the Philadelphia Eagles.
As a man, you run to adversity. As a team, as the people in this locker room, we run to that. We accept it. And for me, I know I'm more hungry now than ever because, I hate the Eagles. But they taught us something that, not taught us, but they're putting us through something that we need to get put through. I'm glad that it's happening this early in the season because it's only going to make us for later on in the season. You never know what's going to happen when it comes to those times in the playoffs where we need to dig down deep and find ourselves. And every man in this locker room is going to be able to do that now because of this experience here. And so, man, I'm just excited for the journey, excited for this team, excited for the individuals in my room, and man, we're just going to keep punching that clock and going to work.
Yeah, going to keep punching that clock and going to work. Yeah, cool. You run to adversity. Not a single one of you was running towards the idea of losing that game and having to deal with this adversity right now. It is a very nice spin on what happened to you.
I appreciate that he's trying to turn the page and make it into a positive.
Yes.
Good for you.
But
you have to come here in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And now, that's going to be a difference for seeding, difference for the potential of them having to come back to Lincoln Financial Field. What if we got back-to-back years with the snow game against the Rams?
Then that would, not that I need a convincing, because I do think weather should be a factor into football games. But the league would probably be like, you guys got to get it.
So that would be what happens at the owners' meeting
and I would
this
be
year.
like, no.
The owners' meeting next year, after they ban the tush push, the next thing on the table is everyone has to have a dome stadium.
Your weather.
Everyone has to have a dome stadium
We
by
can't watch anymore.
2035.
It's so good. It's funny. I was just thinking about the Rams fans. I guess when they won the Super Bowl, they probably picked up a couple.
Right.
So maybe
yeah,
there's
because
people.
it became the hot thing to do in L.A. there probably for a little while.
Hey, look at us. We got our team back, and
Yeah.
we won. So that was kind of like that. I'm guessing. But you're looking at fandom that might, some of them, for just a couple of years.
Yeah.
5-year fandom.
And like maybe they don't have the sports band, so this right now is just like an all-time hatred. Like if you didn't
Right.
grow up,
They don't
in
have anybody
fandom,
else to
Yeah.
really focus on. Now they're like, this is the team that's taken away our opportunity.
So the fans definitely am. Kyron Williams says he hates the Eagles, and it's a justified hate because I'm curious now that we've seen it happen where they come back and beat them, where they crushed them out in L.A. last year, where obviously we know what happened in the snow game. We've seen the way they've owned them, Peterson era to Sirianni era, pretty much through the McVay timeline.
And the way that the Eagles fan base takes over their stadium. I remember that from a couple years ago. It was like, you heard Eagles chants on
Yes.
the broadcast.
Which, again, goes to the fandom thing out there. But we talk about this weekend, the Buccaneers, in the exact opposite light, where that's a team that just owns the Eagles. They have the Eagles number. Like, we're going to look this weekend to break what has been, feels like a curse. Now, there's one man that can save this team, and he's on the morning show. Andrew Salciunas was down there when they beat the Buccaneers a couple years ago.
2023.
Yes. He's going back to Tampa Bay this week. I'm already going to give him the
lone
credit.
win of Sirianni.
Yes, I'm going to give him the credit if it happens. I want that to be very clear. He will get a lot of credit from me if they win this weekend. It might have to be Salciunas getting the credit for it. But in that light, and we'll look at the Buccaneers matchup this weekend. We got very insecure as a fan base leading up to that Rams game, and not just as a fan base. A lot of people that cover the team also were like, "Hey, I don't think they're going to win this one. This one feels like a loss." Are we going to approach the Rams going forward with the air of dominance, with the idea that, yeah, we own them, we're going to be able to take care of business every time we see them?
Mm-hmm.
Because we do the opposite a ton, where that team owns us. Well, I don't know, we're just going to lose. Are we going to be able to apply that? Because I think as a Rams fan, again, whoever you are, and probably in the back of your mind as someone on that Rams team, you're like, oh, crap, the Eagles again? So I'm curious for you at 610-632-0975. I think we should at this point. I mean, we've owned them. I think at this point, every time we see the Rams on the schedule, yeah, you should just feel like you're going
Just
to
like
beat
the
them.
Bucks probably do on the other side.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And we'll get to that Bucks matchup. Something interesting that they did roster-wise, we're going to get into in the 11 o'clock hour. Because the Tush-Push Terminator, we'll explain that.
That's a good nickname.
I saw that one. I'm not going to take credit. I think that was Warren Sharp. I'm not taking credit for that one. Coming up, we'll get to the Phillies. Because we got a sneaky little issue that might be popping up, and maybe my favorite 40-year-old man is a part of that problem. We'll get to that conversation coming up from last night's Phillies game. Alongside Amy Fudel, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Attention, Delaware Valley.
I can say the same thing that Jalen Hurts earned his right to have that moment on the sideline because he's the damn Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
And he won that Super Bowl. Obviously, the defense was tremendous, but by throwing the football last year. You saw the second half, a totally different Eagles team from the first two games, but the same Eagles team from the last two games of 2024 when they won the conference championship in the Super Bowl. Quote that, damn it.
I'm still in awe that they found a way to win this football game
Jordan
it's
Davis
incredible.
got some big paws, man.
Incredible. Listen, it wasn't only Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter getting the blocked field goals. I love it, and great plays by them. But it was also the film study coming in that they knew the launch angle from the kicker. They knew exactly where to line up over that guard, how they were going to get pressure and then immediately get their hands up. It was just, it's incredible. A lot of guys will just mail it in on special teams, just mail it in on a field goal block.
Well, they certainly didn't mail it in. As a matter of fact, I mean, that to me seems like this is one of those plays where Nick has taken very seriously in practice. And look at what happened. 2 blocked field goals? That doesn't happen in this game.
How about this? So our man Tim McManus, who joins the show every Thursday, covers the Eagles for ESPN, he tweeted out, the last time the Eagles blocked 2 field goals in a single game, it was exactly 50 years ago to the day of yesterday's game.
Was it really?
September 21st, 1975 against the New York Giants. 50 years to the day.
Gives a new meaning to that song. It was the 21st night
of September.
Back into the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. We're playing geography right now in the break.
Yes.
Of
where things are.
yeah, basketball season. It's coming up.
That's right.
That's today. By the way, I feel like we have to mention it, and I think this is like for those of us that are always going to buy back, no matter how much we've been hurt, because let's all call it what it is. The Sixers last year broke me, and I have not gotten to the point where I'm buying back. But seeing those jerseys today,
you got excited.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, those things, and I love that they presented it like you asked and we answered. The play on obviously with the answer for AI.
Yeah.
The jerseys they're amazing.
They look good.
They look really good.
They look really good.
Take all of my money.
I
There's
know.
no way I'm not purchasing. Shawnee, obviously he already has a Maxi or Iverson one, but now he has to have like multiple.
I'm thinking it's got to be as a
Edgecombe.
As a
for him.
2000s guy myself, it probably has to be a maxi for me. On that one.
Well, yeah, he'll get the maxi.
I don't know though. I was a pretty big VJ guy leading up to the draft,
See?
so maybe I have to go just invest in that one. That's
They look good. In case you guys haven't seen them, they're all over social media. The Sixers have posted. They've got a great hype video about them.
Yeah, no.
And listen, I get it. We all know. We all know. We all know what it was like last year. So I know when I'm posting it, I'm still going to get the replies of like, yo, let us enjoy this moment. Those jerseys are straight fire. They're amazing. They look so good. People have asked them for years, a decade plus now.
Yeah, the black jerseys are nice.
They look good.
Really good.
The court looks good. Everything looks
Speaking of looking good, more Slim Joe content.
Oh, yes.
Joel looking fit and playing fives.
There was definitely a scrimmage. There's clips of that. There's a good shot of him, like a full body shot or most of the body, and he does look slim.
He looks like good shape. Playing fives in in September, before October. I know.
We'll talk to him on Friday.
Yes, we will. Media day.
Media day's Friday.
Connor Thomas and I will be down there for the station. You'll be down there talking to everyone. You mentioned talking to Joel.
I will talk to literally everybody.
You're going to talk to literally everybody.
If you wear a jersey or in some way involved with the team, there's a good chance you're going to stop by my booth.
I'm actually going to go be interviewed by Amy Fadul.
Come on, stop by. I literally just have the open chair, and I just wave, and they just come over.
Hi, I'm the new two-way player.
Come on through. Oh, you're a G League guy? Great.
Yeah. So looking forward to that coming later this week with the 76ers. But yeah, talking basketball, I had to mention those jerseys because they're
fire.
They do.
It's amazing.
Get you a little excited, you know? The
You can
Joel
be excited.
content.
You can be excited while still thinking like I
know.
I want to wait and see, but you
Yep.
can get excited
I'm
about
going to
those
wait and see, but I saw the jerseys and I see the Joel content, and I just have to give credit to the 76ers for doing a really good push of PR for me right now, where
Did
it's
it.
got me a little excited for what's going to happen this season. But get into a team in season right now in the Phillies. Last night, brutal all the way around. Losing that game, but on top of losing that game, blowing that game, the rain delay, and then losing that game. Just all-time bad in terms of a baseball game. And the Dodgers lose last night, so it just makes you one game
that was
away
the
from
thing.
getting
So the
that.
Dodgers were cruising. So people are going to talk about the the Phillies. Dodgers were up 4-0 in the 7th.
Yes.
4-0.
Yeah, and it's turning into a great conversation, and this is
A Diamondbacks team.
Yeah.
And the Mets lost. So the Mets lost with yay. And then the Dodgers lose. It was funny. Like, we're sitting there like, oh, we're going to have to wait to find out the result, thinking the Eagle or the Phillies would win. And then so you'd have to wait for the result. And then, I don't know, that's really late. Do we have to wait for the result happened anyway because of the rain delay and extra innings. It was, the bullpen is
Yeah. Yep. Bullpen right now. And to get to that point, the Mets, Reds, Diamondbacks difference right now. The Mets are back into a playoff spot after last.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it a 3-way tie?
The Mets from
No, because
last
the
night.
Mets lost.
No, the Mets won.
Oh, the Mets won.
The Mets came back. The
That's
Mets
right.
won.
That's right.
That's what it was. Yeah. So the Mets came back and
7-6,
won.
I think. Yeah.
They
were
win
down.
that game. Yeah, they were down. I think they were down 7-6. They win 9-7.
That's what it was.
They come back. They win. So the Mets are now in that last
Apologies.
wild card spot. Reds game back. Diamondbacks a game back now. So the Mets back into a playoff
Back
spot.
in the playoff spot with the win. That's right. If they had lost, it would have been a
Right.
3-way tie, and we were trying to figure that out.
And the Phillies end up with last night the Dodgers losing a game away from clinching the bye.
Magic number is 1.
But in all that brutality, you mentioned the Dodgers and Tanner Scott right now. They're debating whether or not the free agent acquisition should be actually on the postseason roster, which is a fun debate to have when here we're not even having that debate about the guy you brought in the offseason, the bullpen being on the postseason roster. Most people forget that he's even on the roster. I'm talking about Romano, of course. But some of the guys that you've brought in, Robertson, Duran, guy that's already been here in Kirkering, from the right side right now. Not an encouraging last 5 outings for Robertson.
6 home runs between those guys.
Yeah. Kirkering, we know what it's been the last couple months. That's been not encouraging. And Duran.
Well, that was his first home run not surrendered to a Dodger.
Yeah.
That
I
help
don't
you?
love that that's going to be against the Miami Marlin. This bullpen, which for much of August into September you
Was
felt
great.
good about, right
felt
now from the right side, Robertson was going to be the first name that you would call.
Well, it was
And
6-7. You were like, okay, your starter
Yeah.
gets to 6, 7, Matt Strom, David Robertson, 8, Matt Strom.
9 Duran.
There you go.
And yet, it's not looking great over the last couple weeks, or really the last week or so. Like, that's a point of contention for you right now. Are you going to be able to out-hit some of the concerns you have at the back end of that bullpen? It's fun in the way things, storylines bounce back and forth because it was, okay, what do you have in the starting pitching? Well, now you feel pretty good about the 3 lefties. Okay. Well, once you start feeling good about that, it's like whack-a-mole, really, with what you're concerned about with this team. Bottom of the lineup's not hitting. Okay, bottom of the lineup starts hitting. Now I'm concerned about the starting rotation. Well, the starting rotation's figured out. Now I'm getting concerned about the bullpen here. I just need October.
Yeah, and the thing is, we heard from Rob Thompson on their last game in Arizona, and he was like, well, this next couple of days, obviously we still want to be able to, and the Brewers lost too, you still want to be able to, secure the bye, but some guys are going to get a little bit of time off. And that's no surprise. It's a long season. We all know that. They're going to trade Turner. Sosa's expected to be activated today. Trey Turner took live BP yesterday. He's going to take some more today. The hope is to maybe get him a little bit of work
by the end of the week.
But by the end of this homestand, which ends on Sunday. So in the regular season, obviously, who knows whatever that looks like. But it seemed like there were some positives in that regard. And then now you're thinking like, okay, I got why Duran got the work in Arizona because you needed to see him. I don't know why we haven't seen Strom necessarily. You've only seen him. You saw him Saturday and you saw him last Monday.
I think he's getting some time off,
which is great. But at some point, I'm going to need to see help me feel better a little bit right now because we're leaking some oil.
Yeah, he needs.
And Kirkering, I don't get.
No,
because he's got the stuff. I don't get it.
I don't understand it either.
Well, the Duran home run. Did you see the ball where the ball was?
Yeah,
on that one?
you just can't. I don't care how fast you throw it. You can't throw it there.
It's literally right in the middle. Like, I know the strike box isn't exact, but it was right in the middle. No one's going to miss that. Not no one, but most of them are not going to miss that.
So
And it comes in that fast. It goes out faster.
I will say I'm sweating a little bit more nowadays. It's not just because I was, eating sushi and eating the wasabi at Yakitori Boy last night while the bullpen was pitching. I'm sweating a little bit more right now when the bullpen comes out. I'm going to be honest about that. Do I think that we've hit, panic level? Not yet for me. But I can tell you I'm sweating a little bit more. And it wasn't just the wasabi. I'm sweating a little bit more these days watching this bullpen.
Good news is, Christopher Sanchez can go deep into games.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't need to have those guys for very long.
Thing is, if I asked him to go 7, I think that's the extent of his postseason experience right now in terms of innings pitch. So, just saying, I'm sweating a little more. You mentioned the strike box. We got news in Major League Baseball yesterday. We'll get to that coming up. Automated balls and strikes. How do we feel about it? What do we see in the...
Big fan.
We'll get to it. I'm intrigued. The strategy behind it.
Have you not seen it? Have you seen it live in action?
I've seen it live in action, yes. You know me, I love some good minor league baseball. So I'm very, very intrigued the way people feel about this. We'll get to that coming up. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Kyle Schwarber hit his 54th home run on the season last night, but the Phillies dropped the game against the Marlins 6-5 as the Fish were able to fight back in the 9th inning. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo was on the mound, and first pitch is set for 6:45. As for the Eagles, we all know that the offense was not flying high in the first half, but they erupted in the second half, and offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo spoke about how the offense came to life.
I think when we look back at the game, we were able to kind of make the adjustments we needed to get it going in the second half. When you get in those moments, you do what you got to do to get it done. And I think that the guys were awesome at just taking into everything we needed to do and sequencing plays together and making plays and executing and getting it done.
Head coach Nick Sirianni will speak to the media around 12:10. We'll carry that live presser right here on The Fanatic. And the 76ers announced the unveiling of their Hardwood Classic Edition uniform, which celebrates the 25th anniversary of the 2000-2001 76ers team that made it to the NBA Finals. The team will debut the uniform on October 8th against the Raptors, and the jerseys will be available for purchase on October 15th via SixersShop.com. This update's brought to you by ExpressPros.com. Getting a new job can be easier with Express Employment Professionals. With Express, you'll have a local connection to the job market. Get started at ExpressPros.com to find a local location near you. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best words coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I can say the same thing that Jalen Hurts earned his right to have that moment on the sideline because he's the damn Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
And he won that Super Bowl. Obviously, the defense was tremendous, but by throwing the football last year. You saw the second half, a totally different Eagles team from the first 2 games, but the same Eagles team from the last 2 games of 2024 when they won the conference championship in the Super Bowl. Quote that, damn it.
I'm still in awe that they found a way to win this football game.
Jordan
It's
Davis
incredible.
got some big paws, man.
Incredible. Listen, it wasn't only Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter getting the blocked field goals. I love it, and great plays by them. but it was also the film study coming in that they knew the launch angle from the kicker. They knew exactly where to line up over that guard, how they were going to get pressure and then immediately get their hands up. It was just, it's incredible. A lot of guys will just mail it in on special teams, just mail it in on a field goal block.
Well, they certainly didn't mail it in. As a matter of fact, I mean, that to me seems like this is one of those plays where Nick has taken very seriously in practice. And look at what happened. 2 blocked field goals? That doesn't happen in this game.
How about this? So our man Tim McManus, who joins the show every Thursday, covers the Eagles for ESPN, he tweeted out, the last time the Eagles blocked 2 field goals in a single game, it was exactly 50 years ago to the day of yesterday's game.
Was it really?
September 21st, 1975 against the New York Giants. 50 years to the day.
Gives a new meaning to that song. It was the 21st night
of September.
Closing in on the 11 o'clock hour here on WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia. Beasley Media Group station broadcast live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Very fancy way of saying you're listening to Middays alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn, hanging out with you today. Going to get to this automated balls and strikes in a second. But while we're talking baseball, I know National Baseball Talk is what it is, but we talked about being a Rams fan in the 10 o'clock hour, or we're still in 10 o'clock hour, but a couple seconds ago in the 10 o'clock hour. Being a Detroit Tigers fan right now could potentially be one of the, and like being a Mets fan right now definitely sucks. And we took that victory lap on Monday of just how bad it's been for them. Being a Tigers fan right now,
you finally got one nice thing in a while. It had been a hot minute since you had joy in Detroit, period, right? Your Lions, they lost everybody to injury last year. You were so excited
Lost
that
the
was your
Commanders.
year, and you couldn't get to the NFC title game.
Yep. Ben Johnson left you. So did Aaron
And
Glenn.
then the Red Wings, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
The Octopi not flying as much.
The Pistons.
Sure, they're the little engine that could, the little upstart.
You got Tobias Harris on your basketball team. That's all anyone could ask for.
Again, so it's been a tough time in the city. And they got a shiny new toy. And the toy was so shiny and all the wheels were working so great. And now the toy is broken.
Eminem came out with an album, I think, recently.
That he did.
You've got that.
It's great. Side note, like some of the people like discovering Eminem now when he's like 50-something years old.
You missed it. You missed a lot. Go rewatch 8 Mile.
Come on, people. Can you play that song? Yes, I can play that song. I got it. Sing all the words to it too. Get out of my car, kids. No, but like so they were so excited. They're so excited. Can you tell what it's like to carpool with me?
Yes, I can. Sounds like a joy.
There we go. You're listening to my music. No, it's my music. Apparently, is their music now. But it's I feel bad because it's been a really tough time as a whole. Detroit is a city that had a lot of luster in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's lost some of its luster. Its sports teams need to help bring it back. The Lions were going to be that team. The Tigers this year were going to be that team. And the Tigers are in an epic collapse.
Putting a pin in that for 1 second, what you just said about that music, because it was something I realized when I was down in Coastal Carolina. Where I'm at like their big tailgate thing. Like I'm out, my sister, my family's out to tailgate, the whole thing. And the kids are the kids. I say that at my age. But like
kids are a few years younger.
the college kids are playing music that was played when I was like in college, and I had that moment of like, oh, they're playing my music. My music was good. And I was like, oh, that's a very old way to, like, that's an old man way to think.
Oh,
of
yes.
like, there hasn't been any good music that's come out since.
No, it's still out there. As the playlist that I have, Eminem's on there. You'll be Lose Yourself or Till I Collapse, great stuff or whatever. And then all of a sudden, people like Internet Money, which is a song named Lemonade, very popular. Okay. It's on a heavy rotation.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm thinking I'm like trying to envision the Amy Fadul Till I Collapse.
Let him play whatever, as long as it's the Till I Collapse. That's
like I'm trying to envision Amy Fadul like rapping along with Eminem.
That's a great song.
I could see it.
Amy. That's a great song.
Oh, it is a
then
great
of course
song.
I had to educate on like Warren G and Nate Dogg, and I was like, if you like this song, let me get you one more.
This is a whole new side of Amy. Yeah.
Regulators, mount up.
This is a whole new side of Amy that I didn't know.
I have a very eclectic music taste.
We're going to have to break down Amy's playlists.
People look at my playlist and be like, what is wrong with you? Do you have,
Started about a conversation about the Tigers faltering, and we got to the point
because
where
you mentioned Eminem, and it reminded me that so each boy, I have two children, two boys, and they each have their own little playlist. So when they're in the car, they want to have songs from their playlist.
Right.
Baker, who is the younger, is heavily influenced by his brother's playlist.
Right.
No surprise, but he also has his own tunes that he likes. But yes, their playlist. It's heavy on the rap.
I like to hear that he's heavily influenced by his older brother.
Very
because
heavily
my
influenced.
brother and I went on a road trip to Boston earlier this summer, and I can assure you that the influence of what I listened to did not at all go to him.
Baker's whole playlist basically is like, there's like a couple songs that he found himself through, I guess, whatever. Just, sometimes when if you like this, it plays this.
Yeah.
They're all clean versions, by the way. It has to be the clean version.
Absolutely.
Kids know that. Even if you get in my car, I'm not playing whatever it is. Oh, we can play the Kendrick. I can, as long as there's a clean. Travis Scott is real popular, too, still.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, a lot of Travis Scott.
Interesting. I appreciate Kendrick being a part of that rotation.
Absolutely. That's hard.
Warms my heart.
Yes.
The kids are listening. To the Detroit Tigers, though, and the collapse that we're talking about
But,
here.
I mean, it was a 10-game lead?
So they had a 10-game lead September 3rd. By the way, everyone, it's September 24th.
3rd.
That was 3 weeks ago. That was 21 days ago.
September
You lost
3rd.
10 games in that amount of time.
Lost a 10-game lead.
They lost a 10-game lead in that time. If you remember, the Tigers, when they came to town that weekend, Duran, the entrance, all that, it was supposed to be, these are two teams with
teams could
World
meet in the
Series.
World Series.
If the Tigers miss the postseason, it is one of the most epic collapses in the history of sport. Given the fact that you have 6 playoff spots and you had that lead you had a 10-game lead on a playoff spot in September. Credit to the Guardians for what they're doing while we're talking about towns that need something. Cleveland, credit to you, especially now without Clase, without Luis Ortiz. Like the fact they were able to make that happen. But man, oh man, what an epic collapse there for Detroit. That was really just the point because ESPN just came out with their regular season grades for all 30 teams, and the Tigers' grade is just slowly dropping. They're like, it would be an A+ about 2 months ago. Now it's about a B, and now it's going to go it's an F if they miss the playoffs.
If they miss the playoffs, it's absolutely a fail. You cannot. They get no credit. There's no partial credit.
But something we're giving an A2, automated balls and strikes. This is going to be great.
I think it's going to be great. Anybody that's watched tennis or soccer on any of the major stages, they know what VAR is. That's basically what it is. If you haven't seen it, you didn't really see it on like the big screen like you do in spring training, like you do in the minor leagues. Minor leagues, it's so fast. It literally comes up. It's a box just like you think it is, and it shows where the ball. It looks just like tennis.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, and it's entertaining. Like there's an entertainment value to it.
And it's fast.
So 2 challenges.
Yes, 2 challenges.
2 challenges a game
per
Get
team.
It, yes, you get it right, keep it, which is important.
Meaning you could keep your challenges the entire game if you keep getting them right.
Yes, so just keep getting them right. Now there is the strategy of how you'll deploy it,
and who deploys it.
Correct. Rafael Marchand, not to single anyone out.
Only 3 people can deploy it: hitter, catcher, pitcher. That's it. So it cannot come from the manager. It can't come from second base or anything like that. I thought I saw hitter, catcher, pitcher. That's it.
And to that point, when I say who's going to deploy it, 9-hitter. I use Marchand as the example there. Stubbsy, if you end up in the lineup again. Stott has a good eye. I might be able to deal with that. Marsh, these are going to be probably your superstars using these challenges mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, no offense
And later
to,
in the game.
to Rafael Marchand, but
Yeah.
if we only have one left, I don't care if it was
You're out, kiddo.
stone cold, a stone cold ball, and you thought, and now it's gone it hasn't gone your way. I don't care.
Also, and this is something that I'm sure, I know we have actually people that work in around minor league baseball that listen. A couple of friends I know that tune in will send me a little note from time to time. So they might listen to this and be like, you uninformed jerk when I say this. But I am interested for, you know how every batter has like their routine, how they're going through things. Like the batter that like does the little tap, like maybe to secure the helmet.
I mean, it has to be very definitive.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what marks a challenge?
Because if anybody's watched it, you know, but you're usually, if you're readjusting your helmet, those guys are usually out of the batter's box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have, if you step in,
so you gotta
now with
still
the
be
new,
there.
Yeah. So now with the new rules as far as the pitch clock, there is a rule about when you step into the batter's box, hands on the bat, ready. Ump knows that. So they do work on that. But that is a good point. Usually, if you're readjusting, you're not addressing the pitcher. You're not in there. So it has to be you're in the box, in the stance.
Immediate. I mean, it has to be immediate. We saw it in spring training, but the immediateness of it, I think that, like, there's just some funny storylines I think could come from this. And I also think the bank, when there is a review that pops up on the video board, is going to be awesome. When the Phillies get it right, like the anticipation and seeing it pop up, and like, I can't wait for the energy of the ballpark for when that happens. Very dumb, stupid thing for me to be excited for, but I'm very excited for it.
It'll be that they'll grab just enough of the line, and they'll be like, yes.
Yeah.
I told you.
Well, I mean, we all know better than the umpires. Every time I sit in the 400 level, I know exactly what's happening.
I asked Ricky this yesterday about, like, does he think it'll affect the way the umpires call the game? And he's like, listen, they've been wrong all their lives.
Yeah.
They're not going to, it's not, I just wondered, is there going to be, in every other league that has, in every other sport that has this review system, there's then a grading period. No, there's always grading periods of every umpire, referee, whatever. But how much do they take into account? Well, you missed 7 of these. Like, these were, you know, because it does take into account for the NBA and for the NFL.
See, I see this as the happy medium. They're staying employed, and you're going to have an opportunity to get the call right.
Yeah. My favorite thing was last year when people started talking about, they kept calling them robo-umps.
Yeah.
There was a small, but and somewhat vocal part of people out there, not fan base of Philadelphia, but just in general, that genuinely thought it was like a computer back then.
I am umpire.
There wasn't a human going to be standing
I will call
back there.
strike zone.
I may have talked to a person that was like this, and they're not a sports fan and whatever else. They're casual, and so they were like, so these robo umps. I'll never forget it. Like these robo umps, like, so they're just going to replace the umpires, and I was like,
not quite.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, well, yeah. So the umpires are not there anymore. They're just going to use the robo umps. And I was like, that is no. I know you heard that term robo ump. That's not it. It's. Never mind.
You're out.
I was like, the human umpire will still be there calling balls and strikes. There is now a system that is electronic to check them. She's like, well, why would they just say that? I'm like, I don't know. Robo-umps is more fun to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun, like, catchword. You know?
That there was people out there that were like, they heard it, were like, oh. So it's just, they didn't think there was any person back there. It was just like some kind of computer or something.
You're ejected. Sorry, I'm going to stop with the robot voice now. But I'm interested. I'm excited to see it. I'm very excited to see it. I think this is a nice, happy medium for the sport and a way for the games not to be decided by.
And it's very fast. I think that's the number one thing. It is exceptionally fast.
Good for pace of play.
The whole thing's less than 10 seconds.
Entertaining. And I think it's just going to be better for the game.
Do you think there's going to be the section of people that don't like it?
I'm curious, if you are against it, I would love to hear from your perspective on it. 610-632-0975, because I know that there's the traditionalists when it comes to baseball.
There's people that still don't like the pitch clock.
Yeah, and so I'm interested to see if those people exist. I know there are a lot of people that are against the tush push, which coming up, the tush push Terminator has apparently been signed by the Buccaneers ahead of the Eagles-Bucks game this weekend. Todd Bowles addressed the tush push. We'll play his comments about the play and about whether or not they signed this massive man to slow it down. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas, and Connor Thomas.
I think it was the craziest Eagles game I've ever seen. And I am a lot older than you, in case you haven't figured that one out. That is the craziest Eagles game I've ever seen. In the fact that I think that was the worst first half I arguably have ever seen the Eagles play offensively as long as I've watched them. And that was the most amazing second half turnaround that I potentially have ever seen.
The one game I'll rival is Eagles-Giants miracle at the Meadowlands, the multiple touchdowns,
which was the Michael
quarter.
Vick fourth quarter,
Deshaun Jackson punt
which
return.
was crazy.
Yeah,
that was the problem was that the Eagles were in that other game didn't look as inept. The Giants' defense had actually held them down in that Giant game.
And in this first half yesterday, they looked inept.
No, they looked inept, and until Jalen Hurts just had to take charge. And nothing makes me happier. Nothing that I'm taking away from yesterday makes me happier than seeing Jalen Hurts get fiery, get a little angry, and literally telling his offensive coordinator, this is how it's run.
Yeah.
Period. No spin job, no nothing. This is how it's run. You don't have to be a lip reader to be able to see what he said.
Yeah, it was pretty clear.
And Kevin Patullo was the student, and the quarterback was the teacher, and everything changed.
And you know what? During your 50 days of therapy, because 50 days before kickoff, John Kincade had a random worry of Kevin Patullo that came out of nowhere. It was in the middle of the Phillies season, and John was worried.
It was in my head.
And I tried making you feel better by saying, well, maybe Jalen Hurts will be a big part of this offense. And through the first 2 weeks and half of week 3, he really wasn't, except for a few check-ins at the line of scrimmage every once in a while. But to your point, that moment yesterday, Jalen took over. And for all the Jalen Hurts naysayers, for all the doubters, for all the, hey, he's only good because of the players around him, that was the Jalen Hurts second half yesterday. Obviously, credit to the defense holding the Rams to only 7 points, and we will talk about it over the course of the show. But what Jalen Hurts did in that second half yesterday is why you feel so comfortable. It's why when Rich Eisen last Monday, 1 week ago today.
And we played it multiple days.
Yep, we played it multiple days. He talked about how the Eagles have this air of invincibility to them. And yesterday's game is the prime example of it. Like, they were dead. That game was over. The halftime's done. You come out the second half, and right away you turn the football over, and right away the Rams score, and you're like, all right, this game is over. There's no way they're winning this football game. And then something clicked. Something clicked defensively. Something clicked offensively. Maybe it was Fred Johnson being put into the game and not Matt Pryor, who probably should never play again. I mean, yesterday, that second half, it was the tale of two halves. And once again, it leads to another victory, and they're 3-0. That's why what Rich Eisen said last week, that's why we played it so many times.
Working our way through the 11 o'clock hour here on the Midday Show. Working is the key word there, right, Amy Fadul?
Working. Always working.
Always working.
ABW.
Yes. After we talked about ABS in the last
Well
segment.
done.
Yeah. We're bringing ABS to baseball, which is nice. We're looking forward to it. But yes, always working. I try to model my work schedule after yours is really what it comes down to. If I could be as busy as Amy Fadul, that means I've made it in this business.
You just want to work all the time?
That's it.
I know I texted you this morning, and I was like, I was rethinking some life decisions when I did. I came on with Andrew and John yesterday at 7 o'clock, so I got here around 6:40, and I thought, a.m., obviously, and I thought about that last night when I'm sitting there. I was like, maybe I should have thought about that one.
Yeah. Well,
but to my defense, I did. The game should have been over by 9:15.
Yes. Yes, no, you can't plan for weather, as I couldn't, being stuck at Yakitori Boy last night, which I got someone text me.
A strong word.
Yeah, someone texted me when they saw my tweet. They're like, "You're not stuck."
Yeah.
Like you're not. It's not like
it's a great spot.
They're like, you could call. I was like, I don't want to call the rideshare service because that defeats the whole point of taking public transit and walking, which I ended up having to call the rideshare service because I was like, I have to get home.
It's raining.
Yes, but very good, very affordable too. The Yakitori Boy.
Very
For
good.
one beverage, 2 different sushi rolls, sake sashimi, and miso soup. Which, by the way, it's fall now because I had soup.
There you go.
I can't turn down miso soup ever.
What
really.
was that? It was raining, so I'll give you that
Yeah.
pass. But yesterday was every bit of 80 degrees.
Yes, but it was raining, and it was dark out at that point.
Yeah,
it was,
so soup
it was
time.
like 10 o'clock.
Soup time.
It was less than $40.
That's a good
I was
deal.
like, that was pretty good. Eating in the city, and I got all that for less than $40.
deal.
That was pretty good.
Not bad for a stop in.
No, not bad at
Wait
all.
out the weather.
Yeah, which was tough. But hey, Bucks trying to make things tough on the Eagles this week, and
Always
that's how
do.
we're gonna spin this back to the Eagles conversation here. Because I did want to open up today how people felt about the identity of this team, what you could do with this identity, and obviously what they're looking at in terms of dominance over this stretch. 19-20 is one of the most dominant stretches in all of NFL history. But the way people would talk about the Eagles, the way you hear people discuss the Eagles, I don't think you get to that level. And it's because this is a new season, and you go back to last season, and some people wipe the slate clean with this. Some people find trust with this team. But one thing we don't trust is their ability to play the Bucs. And
You just hear Tampa Bay, and it just. Ugh.
yeah, Todd Bowles has been tremendous against this team. Temple guy.
There you go.
I was once accused, by the way, on these airwaves, and we had such a fun time working together yesterday that I'm willing to call him out. Kevin Cooney. We had a lot of fun working together yesterday. I always enjoy working with Kevin. But I remember I said, hey, that Todd Bowles guy might be a good coach. The fact that he coached the Jets might be more of a Jets problem than a Todd Bowles problem. What went wrong there? Also, Cardinals, I felt like he might not have gotten it.
Maybe it was the situation and not the person.
Right, in the right situation.
Which happens.
Right. I was called, I remember, I will never forget this. I was the mouthpiece for the Temple Alumni Association for that. And I've stuck with that. As much as I have really hated the way the Buccaneers have owned the Eagles, every time the Bucs win a game, I do feel more vindicated in my Todd Bowles is actually a good coach, and it's not just me speaking for Temple on this one.
Well, it's also amazing when you have an actual quarterback.
What can happen for
What
you.
a difference make. It's remarkable to me to think, and it was great listening to Vic Fangio yesterday, who sings the praises, rightfully so, of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Because those guys, Fangio knows, he's been around the league a long time. The quarterbacks that play a certain style and the way that they affect the game with the way that they play are few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield has always been that guy. Go back to Oklahoma, he was that guy. So to think that he was in Cleveland and they had him, and then they were like, no.
Carolina?
We don't. And that was a flyer. It was like, hey, this guy's just hanging out somewhere. We'll take this flyer, whatever. Immediately makes an impact on that team. It's remarkable to me, and Fangio said it was like it's remarkable that teams have had him and let him go, knowing what he can do.
And the reason I bring up Todd Bowles specifically is because he is also a friend of this city, not just being a Temple guy, but a pro-tush-push guy. Here is what Todd Bowles had to say in the lead-up to the game this week talking about the tush-push.
I'm a fan of creativity. I think if somebody crafts something and they do it well and it's within the rules, it's up to the other side of the ball to stop them, whether it's offensively or defensively. They have something that they do very well. I think Buffalo's the only other team that can do that well. If everyone else can do it, everybody will be doing it. So it's a challenge for all the defensive coaches to try to stop it. That'll be me included.
And how do you stop it? Well, potentially, you sign a defensive lineman who is a
large human.
Massive man. 400 around.
Did you see the picture when they posted?
Yeah. 450 pounds was like originally what they had him listed at. He was 464 at his pro day. They did not keep him on the roster. And he actually, I think, was a non-football injury designation throughout camp because they were uncomfortable with him practicing in that heat at that weight. They had set up a whole program for it. This is Desmond Watson to basically hit a weight where they would be comfortable putting him on the practice field. They signed him this week. And, of course, when you sign him this week, that massive of a man, everyone looks at it as the tush-push Terminator, as the guy that could stop the tush-push. Todd Bowles said yesterday, that's not why we signed him. Take a listen to Bowles talking about it.
Yeah, had a good workout, and we'll see where he is from signing him from that standpoint, but we'll never bring him in just to stop a tush push. If we got to bring in a guy to stop one play and the tush push never comes up, you're wasting your time. So if we bring him in, we think he can play, not just for a Philadelphia thing, and very unlikely he'll be ready to play once we bring him in for Philadelphia right now anyway. So, it's just a matter of us making room and seeing if we have a place for him and then what we see for him in the future.
All right. Listen. Between you and I, Todd, a couple of Temple guys here.
I mean,
let's hash this out. You're not sure if the tush push is going to come up?
I hear you.
You've watched the Eagles. You know the tush push is going to come up. You signed this guy to the practice squad. Maybe he's figured out all the conditioning and you're really happy to have him. You sign him to the practice squad. You elevate him. And you're telling me it's not worth 3 or 4 plays to send him out there and try and stop the tush push? You think that he can't actually grasp the concept of just stop the guy in front of you?
Right.
Listen.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
With all due respect
I hear
on
you.
that one.
You don't bring in, because on paper you don't bring in one person on your roster just for one play. But it's not just one play.
He's the tush push terminator. That's what he is. He's
a large human that's going to bottle up that middle, so you can't push him around. Just sit there and sit back on your haunches. You can't move that guy. He's 450 pounds.
And this would be interesting to watch from a Philadelphia perspective, but for Desmond Watson's sake, there is something really cool about the idea that there is this guy on the practice squad for the Bucs to get elevated to stop the play. Say he stops the play. Could Desmond Watson make a career in the NFL out of being the guy that gets picked up just to stop the tush push?
For 1 year until they ban it?
That's a heck of a way to make a living.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. If I'm Desmond Watson, I hope that this goes that way.
There's been people that make careers out of less. Let's be honest, right?
Desmond Watson stops it this week. Then the Eagles have the Broncos. The Broncos pluck him off the practice squad. Now all of a sudden, he's a part of the Broncos.
You know what we need you to do? Sit right here.
Issue might be, plays for the Broncos that week. The Eagles then go short week to the Giants.
I don't
think there's enough time that he could be off the active roster, like be waived and then picked up by the Giants. So it might be tough for him in that regard, but then he could get picked up by the Vikings. Like, this guy could make a career just out of being an opponent of the Eagles. And I think that's a fantastic thing for him. I think truthfully, a really, really good career opportunity for him. Roger Goodell is rooting for this kid like nobody's business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roger Goodell is looking at Desmond Watson as the savior to everything that he wants with this league. So the tush push terminator is in town for Tampa Bay. You know who's not in town for the Houston Texans anymore? C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Coming up, Adam Schefter joined the boys this morning. Talked about CJ Is there a fit? Is there something that could be there? Spoiler, he says no. But we'll get to it and break down. You know I love me some CJ. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Last night, Kyle Schwarber hit his 54th home run on the season, but the Phillies lost the game 6-5. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound, and first pitch is set for 6:45. As for the Eagles, we all know that the offense was not flying high in the first half against the Rams, but they erupted in the second half and went on to win the game. Offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo spoke to the media yesterday about the offense, waking up a little bit.
I think when we look back at the game, we were able to kind of make the adjustments we needed to get it going in the second half. When you get in those moments, you do what you got to do to get it done. And I think that the guys were awesome at just taking into everything we needed to do and sequencing plays together and making plays and executing and getting it done.
Head coach Nick Sirianni will speak to the media today around 12:10. We'll carry that presser right here on The Fanatic. And the Sixers have announced the unveiling of their Hardwood Classics uniform. You know what it is, the black 25th AI uniforms from the 2000-2001 76ers team that went to the finals against the Lakers. The team will debut the uniform on October 8th against the Toronto Raptors, and the jerseys will be available for purchase starting on October 15th at SixersShop.com. This update is brought to you by ExpressPros.com. Getting a new job can be easier with Express Employment Professionals. With Express, you'll have a local connection to the job market. Get started at ExpressPros.com to find a location near you. I'm Austin Jones, and your home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
But I will say this. Like, if you can't beat the Eagles when they play a first half like that, Is anybody going to beat this team? And that's not even hyperbole. I mean,
it's not going to be easy.
Listen to this, Ricky. Not only are they 3-0 on the season, they are 19-1 in their last 20 games. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how spoiled we are right now as a fan base? They have won 19 of their last 20 games. They're 17-0 when Jalen Hurts starts and finishes. Think about that for a second. 17 straight wins with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing the game. Here's another wild stat. Jalen Hurts just had his 19th straight game without throwing for 300 yards.
That's unbelievable.
They're 18-1.
Yeah, but you don't need
18-1.
You don't need it. I mean, this
you can't beat this team.
I mean, for the most part, let's face it, this offense is very efficient. For the most part, in his time period here. I'm not saying the first 2 games of the season were real efficient, but you look at that second half in yesterday's game. That was efficiency. That was, you know what it was? It was almost like everybody got on the same tempo. You know what I mean? You look at the first half, they were getting it handed to them. And I'm not talking just score-wise, but physically, the Eagles were getting it handed to them. And I think that surprised me the most out of all that happened in the game yesterday. I think the Eagles being out-physicaled in the first half and beaten badly in the trenches early on, I think that that stood out to me. And then they said, no, we're not going to take it anymore. And they turn this thing around. They end up coming back. They end up winning on the scoreboard. And if you're taking it like last week, you have to take this win as a win. No matter what happened in the first half, you just got to take it. It's a win.
After that strip sack, the Rams score. It's 26-7. On the next drive, 5 plays, 89 yards for a touchdown, and you saw him go deep to A.J. Then he goes deep over the middle to Dallas Goedert. They follow that up with a 13-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. But for me, I mean, the best part of the whole day, that final drive in the fourth quarter, 17 plays, 91 yards. Do you know they picked up 4 third-down conversions on that drive?
Yep.
And a fourth-down touchdown pass to Devontae Smith.
Oh, my
Ice in the veins, man. Jalen Hurts, this is why he's so damn good.
This does not happen to a regular team. Let me put it this way. Almost every other team in the league not necessarily quits, but kind of goes on cruise control. Instead, they were like, you know what? We got to find our offense now. Let's kick it in gear. Let's see what happens. And I almost think it was opposite. Usually when you're in the lead, you don't go into cruise control until halfway through the fourth quarter with that big of a lead. Instead, it was kind of like they played the Rams played a little complacent, and you know what the Eagles did? They smacked them right in the mouth.
But I will say this. If you can't beat...
I'm Ray Dunn hanging out with you. Talking last segment about Tush Push Terminator, which is I'm telling you,
it's a great nickname.
I don't want them to stop the Tush Push, but for Desmond Watson,
I want to see him come out for one play.
Yes, I want to see him on the field.
Right?
But I also think it'd be a really interesting career arc.
What do you do? He sits over there in the corner. He has one play that he comes in for. That's it.
I stopped the Tush Push.
And that's it. That's all he does.
Now, the question is, if he were to stop the Tush Push, this weekend for the Bucs. Is that worth an active roster spot? Well, if you see the Eagles again in the postseason.
I mean, does he do anything? I mean, I know Todd Bowles is trying to tell us that he wouldn't elevate a guy just for one play.
Right.
Even though it's a play that's very effective and is used often by your upcoming opponent. So, yeah. But, no, you can't. You might need an actual spot.
Well, he'd be a run stopper the rest of the season, but, a
run stopper?
Yeah,
I feel like this gentleman, and though I have not seen him play, if he's in there for the tush push, I don't know, how
he's not going to play a
how's
high
his
percentage of snaps.
footwork. What does he look like in an
I'm just
actual
saying,
game?
If he stops,
I'm
the
literally
tush
just
push this
picturing
week,
like Refrigerator Perry just out there,
I'm just saying, you got to protect that guy if he ends up being the
guy.
Yeah.
He does it. If he does it, you're right.
Quick thought here. What if the Eagles hit it like a reverse Uno and they signed Watson and then they put him on the offensive side of the ball to help aid the tush push?
Wow. That's a really, really good spin zone there. I can't. I guess Cameron Latu, watch out.
I like it.
They got a new fullback.
I like it.
See? Something to think about.
Saquon has a big hole coming through. What happened there? Watson just fell down.
Yeah.
So we're all set. Big guy cleared the space.
Speaking of the Eagles bringing somebody in, C.J. Gardner-Johnson yesterday. Before we get to the idea of actually a reunion here, my goodness, you wore out your welcome in 3 weeks. Like, that's impressive. I get it. It has not been good for Houston to start the season. But to be sitting at 0-3 and you're out the door after they traded for you.
3 weeks into the season.
That's impressive. That's, very impressive to be able to just be shown the door that quickly. And this is obviously something we've talked about before with C.J. Gardner-Johnson is, the Saints were willing to move on for a reason. The Eagles, I think, wanted to keep him after 2022, but I will go with I think he got bad financial advice on that one. And then he ends up elsewhere with the Lions, and then he comes back, and then the Eagles were ready to move on from him again for a reason last year. You could say it's financial. You could say it's part of the it drives you a little crazy. I like a little crazy. I'll be honest with you.
Well, the thing is, it was interesting when he wasn't brought back in 2023. A lot of the talk was this defense doesn't have
needs a little swagger,
that grit, that swagger, that extra. And he says it like it is. And is that maybe that doesn't play well sometimes because
how it is or how he sees it?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
Both those things.
His perception is his reality. So there you go. But yeah, he'll just tell. He'll just say, I might not be the greatest thing in the locker room, but when your play on the field, is reflective of how you feel, people just are going to go with it. But in the Texans' case, the noise was not worth whatever the effort was.
No.
Clearly. You don't cut a guy 3 weeks into the season after you traded for him.
Yeah.
Unless you're just really unhappy with what's happening.
And there's a little bit of the, was he going rogue? Was he trying to blitz when they were looking for him to do something else? Was he trying to do something else for himself on the field when they wanted him to do this? The fit wasn't there. And maybe this is a message from D'Amico Ryans to that locker room of, hey, who's in charge? I don't care. We're 0-3.
I'm in charge.
I think they already had players only meeting, I'm pretty sure at that point. It's bad down there early on. They're 0-3. So they cut bait with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And there has been this confusion, I'll call it, of whether or not the Eagles would even be able to entertain the idea of him coming back, whether or not you can reacquire a guy. Today, Schefter said they were able to reacquire him if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And here's Schefter talking about whether there would be a fit there for him to actually come back.
I can clarify that for you. The rules are such that he is not prohibited from being back there. He is allowed to sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. There are no rules that say that he cannot return, despite any talk to the contrary about there being rules that he can't go back. And the way this one worked out, for whatever reasons, I've checked with the league office, he is allowed to sign with Philadelphia. But what I would say to you there is that he's been there how many times already, John?
This would be his third time back. I mean, this would really be amazing.
It would be his third if he comes back. My guess would be they're in a different spot right now than they were at previous times. They have Reed Blankenship. They drafted Andrew Makuba. Andrew Makuba's been a player. He's a second-round draft pick. I mean, I think right now Andrew Makuba's got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's spot.
He does. He has CJGJ's spot. So there wouldn't necessarily be the fit in the world of you were coming in here and you're going to play immediately. Now, you could say in this secondary, before C.J. Gardner-Johnson was here the first time, you think all the way back then.
Right.
He was more of a slot corner.
Yes.
I know we all decided Cooper DeJean should stay in the slot.
You can't put CJGJ as a slot corner.
You can't until you do.
You can't. You can't. He doesn't have that club in his bag anymore.
Until he does. I think.
Come on, you've seen him play.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you on this one. I don't see the reunion at all happening. There is a part of me of like, would I feel more secure with my secondary if he was a member of the Eagles? Sure.
Right, but where would you put him?
And it's one of those things that, like,
he's a safety now.
Are we at the desperation point of calling CJGJ?
And
No.
moving him back to a position that he hasn't played in a couple of years?
In general, because
no, we're not at that point. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not there.
I've had and this goes to what I've said all along. And I like Reed Blankenship, the player. I like the story of Reed Blankenship. I like what he's turned into. If he is the one part of my safety tandem that I feel the most secure about, I'm pretty insecure about my safety tandem. That's just like the way I feel about it. And bringing back CJGJ would secure that for me. But I haven't yet gotten enough of the Makuba experience to say that it's an experience I don't want to have.
He just picked off Patrick Mahomes, kind of.
Yeah, I got you. And that's
off the
again.
drop, but either way.
I'm not. It's not a detriment to him. It's just that we have to see with him, and I'm willing to wait and see instead of going back and bringing CJGJ around for another time. Even though immediately when I saw the drop of information, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's see what he's got. It's probably too soon when you actually think about it and see it, but I have a little,
Is it because of the swagger that he brought?
Yeah, it's a little of that. I like the energy.
I'll find.
I also have a little bit of, that I can't quit it type of mentality here. I like third time it's going to work out.
See, well, are we talking about toxic relationships here?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes down to it, the high was great. You got to the Super Bowl twice. You won one of them. Having to deal with all the talking.
Again.
Yeah, we can find it again. Come back.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think he'll do it. No. I'm just saying though. There's a part of me. There is a little part of me that's like, why not? What's the worst that happens?
2024.
Yeah, what's the worst that happens? Someone that knows better than me on the decision to make, according to a poll in The Athletic today. The Eagles front office. They came in at number 1. Breaking down the voting. We'll get to that coming up next. The best front office in sports and why they get a lot of credit, deservedly so. But there is one man that allows them to do what they do that also deserves the credit when they get themselves ranked as the top front office in football. We'll get to that coming up next. Alongside Amy Ftool, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo, and coming up.
So you put out a tweet after the game that I thought perfectly sort of sums up this game. And I would like you to read it. It's about the boos and the cheers.
Yeah.
Because yesterday was a game where it was a tale of two halves.
Because I was waiting for this to come out from people because you always get those people that'll live. And there was only one jabroni on Twitter last night that was trying to do it. Yeah, you had a bad day on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah.
No, bullcrap. Every boo was deserved. Every cheer was earned. That's bottom line. Every boo was deserved. Every cheer was earned. Everybody who booed the Eagles off the field at halftime yesterday. I don't want to hear about anybody saying, front-running fans or anything like that.
No.
That was a boo-worthy performance. And by the way, the Eagles told you that it was.
Yeah, it was.
A.J. Brown, Jordan Mailata, they'll tell you that it was. And every cheer was earned. Because you know what? When you get booed in this town, you earn it. And when you get cheered, you earn it. And boy, yesterday, that was incredible. And to me, I've never seen this city have this team. And when I try to put it into words, I've told you before, and I'll say it again. To be able to root for a team that is the bully on the block, that is the great team, that is the 800-pound gorilla that's swatting the planes out of the sky on top of the Empire State Building. We've got that team. They showed us again yesterday. Believe them. Believe in them. Yeah. They can beat you in any one of a number of ways. And yes, this is saying it from somebody who, when they were down 26-7, was saying that in my head, I thought that game was over.
Absolutely.
Philly fans, you are the best sports fans in the world. You're not stupid, so why should you have to hear outlandish takes that make you shake your head?
You shouldn't. That's why Unfiltered is the show for you. Each afternoon from 2 to 6, we only bring you honest opinions and analysis.
We may not agree all the time, but what you hear is what we genuinely believe. It's not some rage bait to try to spark conversation. So make the switch to Unfiltered with me, Bill Colarulo, my man Ricky Bo, and Silvana Kelleher.
Every weekday at 2 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
That's right, midday show here on The Fanatic alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. We have a busy 12 o'clock hour coming up. We really do. We've got the NFL notes at noon with our guy Austin Jones. Looking forward to that coming up. Nick Sirianni scheduled to speak at 12:10. So we'll see what time we get him. I also, at the 12 o'clock hour, want to talk about a streaming service that's figured out exactly how to get your subscription numbers up. Because I think they've done a very, very good job of just realizing there is a market that will just buy your content if you only cater to them.
Oh.
And it's because there's a certain documentary coming out on a running back in town.
Yes.
That I'm very excited.
I'm very excited. The fact that this has been in such a long process.
Incredible bet by him, by the way.
Right? I mean, I guess he figured at the end of it, I'm really good. And hopefully it turns out to be, but if not, it's still interesting, right, to see how I got. But starting a documentary basically on yourself years ago is something.
Well, you know, because you've been getting interviewed for my documentary on myself for the last
that's different.
year.
Yeah, that's
And
different.
They keep telling me, I'm like, we could take it to air. We could take it to air. We could take it to air. They're like, we have no purpose to send it to air.
We have to keep going. You need to win something first.
I was like,
this gentleman has won something, so now it's like let's roll this out. It'll be much better than The Kingdom. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. The ending of it will be a lot better than The Kingdom. It's like, I've got my collegiate Emmy. Like, what, can we release this documentary now? And they're like, no.
We need more.
Yeah. It's like, all right, fine. But yeah, I'm excited for that. We'll get to that come up in the 12 o'clock hour. But I want to go back to where we've been because the text line. What we got going on there?
Yeah, so this is going back to our Phillies conversation earlier today. This is from Mike in South Jersey. He says, now that Robinson is pitching way too many innings, they need to limit him because when he has limited innings usage, he's way more effective.
Yeah, so talking about Robertson, I agree that the back-to-back days thing, I'm against, which is one of the biggest reasons why you have to figure out the whole Kerkering thing.
Right.
Robertson pitching back-to-back days, no good. No bueno. I'm not for it. So, last night is not an example of that. Last night's just an example of him not doing his job.
Well, okay, so when you're thinking about the NLDS, Game 1 is October 4th. Game 2 is October 6th.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a breathing room situation.
Correct.
And then there's more breathing room. But going forward, there are back-to-back.
Yeah. And you would have 3-4 back-to-back days. Like, you can't have him pitching back-to-back days. If he pitches 3 of the first 4 games, also, I'm also going to feel
something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
I don't like where we're at.
But again, that's the reason why Kerkering's got to figure it out because you need another right-handed arm there.
And
It's not going to be Lou Trevino.
Yeah, no.
It's not.
So like you're
Make
saying,
it Monco, man, but it's not.
You're wondering what they're talking to him about because Kerkering has it. He's had it. We've seen it. So is it a confidence issue with what he's throwing? Is it just about those specific locations that he's missing? Because his velocity is still there for the most part. He's not hitting the spots, but you're wondering, is it because is he just missing them or is there something else that's going on? So it's something that has to be solved because he has not been the same pitcher even earlier in the season.
Right.
He's shown that he can be that guy. That's why it's a little bit puzzling. That's why they keep going to him. Like, you need to work through this. We're dependent upon you. You're a right-handed guy to help set up this bullpen.
What else we got on the text line?
This is from Jim in Soddenton in regards to the 76ers bringing back the black AI jerseys. I never liked the Iverson black uniforms at all. Sixers are red, white, and blue. Black for black is just so cliche. It's stupid, and all that matters is if the team wins. And we know they're not going to. Just a waste of everyone's time and money.
Oh, wow. He knows that. I'm glad he knows it. So I guess we don't have to go this year. I don't have to
Day's
go.
canceled on Friday.
I don't have to go. I understand people's frustration. Believe me, no one was more frustrated last season as far as an outsider, not with the team, than I was.
I was going to say, you, Jim, can not watch. Amy Fadul, very much
I'm
watching.
locked in. And there were glimpses that I was like, okay, I like parts of this, and I think there's something to take away. And I am a generally positive person, and I always look for that. I know it was tough. The Sixers know it was tough. You're not going to hear these like fluffy conversations surrounding the team being like, well, almost this and they know what it was. It was a season marred by catastrophic injuries to 3 I can't imagine the level of importance with those 3 players. Like just beyond importance. The biggest of the 3. There is no one beyond them, really. And then you go and factor in the Jared McCain excitement that was squashed with his injury. It was disappointing. But to say, like, one that you don't like, the Eagles have black jerseys. You hate those too? Eagles Kelly Green jerseys. That's not in their color scheme. Stop. Just, I get it. I know you're frustrated, but
taking it out of those jerseys is
the black jerseys
a
are
choice.
sweet. It's fun. It's a fun thing. It's a throwback. They're not wearing them every day. They've got like 12 games that they wear them. I saw the release. I can't remember.
I got a lot of games to wear them.
Is it 20 games?
I mean, no, it's like 12, 14. But you think about it, it's a lot of games.
It is a lot of games. It's a lot. I thought it was like a dozen.
Yeah,
Whatever it is.
It's about that. But I'm just saying, we also, because I'm in that season ticket group, our season ticket draft is going to happen soon. And there was someone that sent to the group chat the list of games.
Yeah.
And there was about 3 of us in that group chat that were like, dude, why'd you do that?
Yeah, because everybody's going to.
Yeah, I was like, we were all like trying to hide those games for ourselves.
And maybe you
someone's
didn't
like,
see it.
Hey, here's the games. Idiot. I wanted to be able to draft those games almost exclusively. And now morons in that group chat know what's happening. My friends, those morons. Who are not morons. Eagles front office. The Athletic did a poll of the best front offices in football. Unsurprisingly, Super Bowl champions end up with the top front office. They improved from 4th in last year's poll. The Eagles got 11 first-place votes in this ranking. And, I mean, I don't think there's any surprise to anyone that they would be ranked at the top. I think Howie Roseman has done the number to be not just the best in football, but to be in the conversation for the best right now in sports. They had 7 second-place votes. So just in those 2 alone, 18 votes for one of the top 2 spots. There is no one that had more second-place votes from the top 10. There's no one else, obviously, with more first-place votes. The Ravens got 9, and no one else got more than 3 that I can see in terms of first-place votes. I mean, the Eagles just ran away with this.
The Ravens are they've long been known as a good front office. They draft traditionally well. They take care of their players for the most part. The thing with Howie Roseman, it's so obvious, and it's just strange to me that other front offices haven't started to copy his MO. He sets himself up for how things need to be to continue to go forward at this rate, right? Mm-hmm. We were just talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. If it probably could have worked out, maybe they would have found a way, but you needed to clear up some room because you're going to have to pay Jalen Carter.
Right.
So that's coming
Carter,
off.
Mitchell eventually, DeGene.
Right?
Yeah.
Constantly thinking about this stuff. So that not only does he set himself up to pay those guys whatever they're going to need, and Jalen Carter's going to break the bank. That's going to be a very big payday, especially when you look at what some of the other defensive players have gotten. But also he gets these guys under what it turns out to be market value. Think about if A.J. Brown had come to market for his contract when CeeDee Lamb was out there, or Jalen Hurts was out there when Dak Prescott. Exactly. So you're looking at Jalen Hurts is a steal at this point, when the flip side is the Cowboys, for example, wait too long and then they're overpaying for Dak Prescott, who I think is Dak Prescott's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with him. He's an above-average quarterback, but he's paid like he is the elitist quarterback of the elite.
And his cap hit also.
It's a monster.
But the one thing I'd like to point out when it comes to this front office, and this unfortunately is giving a guy credit that probably shouldn't be credit that needs to be given out, but given the way ownership works around the National Football League and around sports, you have to give credit out when someone actually does right by it. And the fact that they are able to give out the bonuses, the fact that they're able to spend more cash than anyone else in football, lets Howie Roseman manipulate the cap the way he does. So credit to Jeffrey Lurie on that. And also, a high-ranking NFC executive. The best front offices operate with no fear and thinking both long and short term. You get that by having tenure and really the ultimate respect of ownership so that you know you can take a swing and miss. Howie's had way more hits than misses, but the misses don't make him rethink swinging again.
I mean, that's the things you learn from your mistakes.
We collectively, The Philadelphia media, the Philadelphia market, not very patient. Fan base, not very patient. Lori's patience has paid off time and time again. And like that's something that has to be evident in the fact that you get to the top front office by the continuity that they've had, even when we've all had the pitchforks out. And I say we because I'm a part of that. I realize that. But
it's okay.
Part of the credit then being the top front office also goes all the way up to the top of this organization. And a credit for ownership that does not operate like much of ownership, not just in football, but across sports. Coming up, we're going to talk about across football. The NFL Notes at noon coming your way at noon. We'll catch up on some more of your text coming up. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Last night, Kyle Schwarber hit his 54th home run on the season as the Phillies went on to lose to the Marlins 6-5. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo's on the mound and first pitch is set for 6:45. As for the Eagles, we all know that the offense was not flying high in the first half, but then they erupted in the second half. Offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo spoke to the media yesterday about how things changed around against the Rams.
I think when we look back at the game, we were able to kind of make the adjustments we needed to get it going in the second half. You know, when you get in those moments, you do what you got to do to get it done. And I think that the guys were awesome at just taking into everything we needed to do and sequencing plays together and making plays and executing and getting it done.
Head coach Nick Sirianni will speak to the media today around 12:10. We'll carry that live presser right here on The Fanatic. The 76ers have announced the unveiling of their Hardwood Classic Edition uniforms, which celebrates the 25th anniversary of the 2000-2001 76ers AI-led team. That's at Express. You'll have a local connection to the job market and get started at expresspros.com to find a location near you. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best sports coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
But I will say this. Like, if you can't beat the Eagles when they play a first half like that, is anybody going to beat this team? Like, and that's not even hyperbole. I mean,
it's not going to be easy.
Listen to this, Ricky. Not only are they 3-0 on the season, they are 19-1 in their last 20 games. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how spoiled we are right now as a fan base? They have won 19 of their last 20 games. They're 17-0 when Jalen Hurts starts and finishes. Think about that for a second. 17 straight wins with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing the game. Here's another wild stat. Jalen Hurts just had his 19th straight game without throwing for 300 yards.
That's unbelievable.
They're 18-1.
Yeah, but you don't need
18-1.
You don't need it. I mean, this
you can't beat this team.
I mean, for the most part, let's face it, this offense is very efficient for the most part in his time period here. I'm not saying the first two games of the season were real efficient, but you look at that second half in yesterday's game, that was efficiency. That was, you know what it was? It was almost like everybody got on the same tempo. You know what I mean? You look at the first half, they were getting it handed to them. And I'm not talking just score-wise, but like physically, the Eagles were getting it handed to them. And I think that surprised me the most out of all that happened in the game yesterday. I think the Eagles being out-physicaled in the first half and beaten badly in the trenches early on, I think that stood out to me. And then they said, no, we're not going to take it anymore. And they turn this thing around. They end up coming back. They end up winning on the scoreboard. And if you're taking it like last week, you have to take this win as a win. No matter what happened in the first half, you just got to take it. It's a win.
After that strip sack, the Rams score. It's 26-7. On the next drive, 5 plays, 89 yards for a touchdown, and you saw him go deep to A.J. Then he goes deep over the middle to Dallas Goedert. They follow that up with a 13-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. But for me, I mean, the best part of the whole day, that final drive in the fourth quarter, 17 plays, 91 yards, Do you know they picked up 4 third-down conversions on that drive?
Yep.
And a fourth-down touchdown pass to Devontae Smith.
Oh, my
Ice
goodness.
in the veins, man. Jalen Hurts, this is why he's so damn good.
This does not happen to a regular team. Let me put it this way. Almost every other team in the league, not necessarily quits, but kind of goes on cruise control. Instead, they were like, you know what? We got to find our offense now. Let's kick it in gear. Let's see what happens. And I almost think it was opposite. Usually when you're in the lead, you don't go into cruise control until like halfway through the fourth quarter with that big of a lead. Instead, it was kind of like they played the Rams played a little complacent, and you know what the Eagles did? They smacked them right in the mouth.
Possibilities. And coming up, we got the NFL notes at noon. But this was a story yesterday that we brought up on the air. And I didn't intend for it to go an entire segment, but it did. And that's on me. That's my job in terms of driving the show to be better. I'm Ray Dunn, Amy Fadul here. Austin Jones going to give you the NFL notes at noon in a few minutes here. Did you see the Kiffin family story that has circulated the interweb, Amy Fadul? The fact that Lane Kiffin's daughter is dating
an LSU linebacker.
Yes.
And she drops the hard launch because there was no post.
There was no post.
Just the picture of them together. And who does Ole Miss play this week?
LSU.
There you go.
And you saw Lane Kiffin saying, take the over.
Because there was somebody who repeated like, oh, yeah, what's this is going to be an interesting game or whatever.
Yeah.
I like the over. And his reply, Kiffin's reply, as the head coach of Old Maid, is take the over.
Take the over. Have you seen the latest in the developments here?
I have not.
So Brian McGee, of course, on ESPN, tweets out yesterday that tonight, airing on ESPN at 7 o'clock, is the E60 special, The Many Lives of Lane Kiffin. A part of this documentary is his desire to have a second chance at being an in-person parent. A part of that glimpse into Lane Kiffin will be his daughter Landry's video that she created for him to try and convince him to stay at Ole Miss when Auburn came calling for him.
I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on that whole idea. I do. It harkens back to when Urban Meyer was crying, retiring, wanted to spend more time with his family.
Yep.
And it lasted for 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 8 minutes, I think. I think that those type of things and then putting them out there are beyond exploitative. They're dramatic for the sake of being dramatic. But then again, I remember who Lane Kiffin is. And I remember him from his time at Tennessee. And I remember his time at Alabama. And I remember his time in the pro. He is exactly who that guy is. And it's like, yep.
Well, apparently Landry Kiffin made a video.
He had a video about, like, I want to
asking-
be a more in-person parent.
Well, no. It was her video that was imploring him to stay at Ole Miss because she didn't want him to leave to go to Auburn.
And in the grand scheme of things, Lane Kiffin is going to listen to that. This, for those who do not know, Lane Kiffin is a clown, in my opinion. I do not like anything that he has represented at all. I remember him at Tennessee. I remember how he left that program, a program I do not support, by the way, but I am not in favor of the way that he left that program or any other thing that he's ever done. He does not operate in a realm of morality when it comes to coaching. Not that a lot of them do, So you're telling me that this video that they're going to be putting out on national television just meant to be like, hey, Dad, I'd really love for you to stay at Ole Miss because I just love seeing you around, and had nothing to do with the gigantic contract raise to stay at Old Maid than to go to Auburn. Stop it. Stop right now. I have real beef with this stuff. It's like the Bruce Pearl nonsense. I have beef. Heck, I have just so much beef. I just don't like it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Thank you.
Well, I got Amy Fedora called Lane Kiffin a clown here on the air. So that's kind of all I needed out of
His
this
whole
segment.
behavior, go back. For people that don't know, just go back and look at how he's operated in every coaching job he's ever had. Just go back and look and see how he's left places and how he appears at other places. Just check it out.
I know. I'm just saying tonight. The timing is very interesting. Hard launch relationship, documentary comes out.
A documentary about a guy that's currently coaching. Like, why do I need a documentary about Lane Kiffin?
The many lives of Lane Kiffin.
Well, because it's got 9 of them.
Yeah.
The many faces and the many two faces of Lane Kiffin. Stop it. He doesn't coach, and I will say this: he's never coached any team that I have been directly affiliated with nor cheered for. Usually, it's the opposite, which I enjoy. I enjoy when he loses. When he was coaching at Tennessee,
might enjoy this weekend.
I did not enjoy when his Old Maid team beat Kentucky. That's fine, whatever. And of course, right afterwards. Speaking of, take the over, and then right afterwards, the Kentucky game because Kentucky scored late. So the final was 30-23.
Apologize for not covering.
Stop it. Stop it. Seek help.
We will be following the Kiffin story closely.
We will not. We will not.
Right now, it's time for the NFL Notes at noon. Hit the music, Austin.
All righty. So, NFL Week 3 took place, and as we alluded to earlier, the Eagles are going to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 4 down in Tampa because that's what the NFL schedule makers like to do, send the Eagles down to Tampa when it's going to be about 105 and humid. Well, one player that they're not going to have to worry about this time around is Mike Evans, as he's been injured with a strained left hamstring. Wide receiver Chris Godwin could make his season debut, but he's still working his way back from ankle surgery. And their tackle, Tristan Wirfs, is still working his way back from knee surgery. So the beat-up Bucs are kind of down some men this coming week. How do we feel with that taking place? Because last time this year, the Eagles were a beat-up football team heading down to Tampa.
I just watched Tampa's number 2 receiver run all over the place.
Yeah. I am sorry. I have no sympathy. If we gave no context to the Eagles getting crushed last year in Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers having nobody, as Amy likes to say, no room for comments in the win-loss column. I'm sorry that you're going through this, but I do not care when it comes to the conversation.
Their line is a little bit banged up, but Egbuka was. I watched that game last week, and I thought, well, of course they found another guy. Of course they did.
Of course.
Yeah, of course they did.
Did you guys see the video of Baker telling him to catch the ball with 2 hands?
Yes, I did appreciate that.
And then the next possession, he proceeds to catch the ball with 1 hand.
He doesn't listen.
Don't disrespect my passes. No, he's a rookie. That tends to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of rookies, there's a quarterback in Tennessee that is rookie, Cam Ward. He's going to have a new play caller. Titans head coach Bill Callahan will no longer call the plays for the Titans, as quarterback coach Bo Hardegee will now call the plays. Their offense is only averaging 17 points per game, and they've only scored 3 touchdowns on the offensive side of the ball so far. Callahan was quoted as saying this: "They've hired me to be the head coach, and part of the process was being involved in the offense. But my job is to be the head coach of the football team, and I think this allows me to do that job a little bit more, pay more attention to some things that might require my attention and be more present."
Yeah, where have we heard that one before?
Nick Sirianni, everyone.
So,
yeah.
CEO coach coming in Tennessee.
That's a guy trying to save his job.
Right, yeah. That's
Callahan. I mean, Hardegee's been around. He's been an offensive guy for a while. I think he helped call plays with the Raiders last year.
Yes.
But that's
going to the quarterback coach is an interesting.
I mean, I guess they figure they have a good relationship. They're trying to get something positive going
Nick
down
Cole's
there
the
with
offensive
Cam Ward.
coordinator, not getting the bump on that one.
Callahan said the experience of Hardegee calling those plays for, I believe it was 7 or 9 games last year for the Raiders, is what led to him to that decision.
It has.
The offensive coordinator is like,
me? What do
I'm the person that they literally usually. Okay. All right.
3 though.
How many touchdowns?
They have 3 offensive touchdowns this year. They're averaging 17 points a game.
One per game. One per game.
It's amazing. They're 0-3.
Yeah. Hey, it could be less than one per game. Could be worse.
Could be worse.
What else you got?
Speaking of worse, the Commanders, their injuries just continue to pile up because they wanted to be the oldest team going into the 2025 NFL season. This time around, it's going to Terry McLaurin, who's going to seek additional appearance on his quad injury, which knocked him out against the Raiders this past weekend. McLaurin has started 72 consecutive games, but the injuries for the Commanders, again, continue to pile up. Don't forget, Jaden Daniels still has a knee sprain that he's working back from, and their safety, Will Harris, suffered a fractured fibula this past week.
I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. They really are wasting this time with injuries on the bad part of the schedule. They got the Falcons this week, I believe it is. Raiders, Falcons. I would love for them to get tripped up by one of these teams. Yeah.
An actual team that maybe could give them a little bit of a run.
Unbelievable.
Not so much.
Appreciate it. Good stuff on the NFL Notes at noon. Speaking of notes at noon, Jordan Davis, NFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
Well done.
Special Teams Player of the Week?
I know. There was...
Very unique.
Hey, listen, 2 block field goals. I mean, brought one back.
Somebody out there that's like, that guy plays only special teams? Hilarious.
Not quite. Isaiah Rodgers.
Or 70%
Defensive Player of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That checks.
2, yeah.
2 touchdowns. That'll work out for you. All right, coming up. We think in a couple minutes, Nick Sirianni at the podium, addressing the media. We'll play that for you coming up next here on the Midday Show.
Wednesday.
I don't think I will ever pick against the Eagles again. Because this team, we say it all the time, it's a cliche. They find ways to win. They find ways to win. If you can't beat a team that comes out in the first half like that, I'm not sure anybody is ever going to beat this Eagles team. Because you look at that first half, and it was ugly. The Eagles looked fortunate for it to be 19-7. And then you're thinking any momentum that they could have getting the ball to start the third quarter wiped away with a Jared Verse strip sack. It's 26-7. It's over, right, Ricky Bo? It's over.
Oh, it's never over with this team. It really, you know what? The biggest take I have out of this is that they went into the locker room, they came out pissed off. I mean, in a good sense. This is a team that was down 19 points at one time in this game. 19 points in football. You know, I mean, that you usually don't come back from that. This is a team that has too much pride. This is a team that's going to keep coming at you no matter what. As a matter of fact, as you know, I was over at NBC yesterday. I said, this game is not over. This team, if they score coming out of the half, I said this could be a completely different game. And it turned out it was a completely different game. And you learned something. You learned a lot about the offense. You learned that the offense is still there. They can still click. And guess who's alive, ladies and gentlemen? A.J. Brown.
To see a little bit of fire in that case is nice because it's like, okay, maybe that is the step in leadership that a lot of people wanted him to have. And that is like the Brady-esque. I still don't think he's going to be the guy that breaks the Microsoft tablet and, starts to threaten the offensive coaches around him. But, I mean, you saw a decent level of, we got to figure this out. I need you to do that for me when it came to Patullo.
Well, and I think that was the thing. I needed to see that because it's like when a manager or a coach sees something going wrong and they're not that. Rob Thompson, for example, right? And everybody's like, well, he should get tossed out. Okay, well, if you do it every single game, then you just become a clown and that loses its luster as well. So for Jalen Hurts to have that point of he's obviously seeing something. And that's where the give and take with an offensive coordinator. So we were talking about earlier with, is it a different play caller? Did something happen between the first half and the second half? No, but there could be that change in the relationship of, here's what I saw, now I'm giving you this input, and now we can change that because it is a collaboration.
And
right?
for all we know, But Tulo could have said to him, hey, man, get a little bit more aggressive. And Hurts
He said, all right.
All right.
That's what I told you I was going to do.
Yeah. $12 o'clock hour here on The Fanatic, and it is brought to you by Service First HVAC. Offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Bray Dunn. Wouldn't you know? Head coach scheduled to meet with the media at 12:10. What time is it, Amy Fadul?
It's 12:12.
Where's the head coach?
He is not meeting with the media currently.
Unbelievable. This guy.
He is on his own time. Listen, he just got word that there is a Terminator that's coming.
Yes.
That's coming to get his favorite play. Okay, he's game planning. You let him game plan. He's got to call up Linda Hamilton and figure out how you can get through. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, people. Okay.
I do love, this has become the thing that a lot, I don't want to say people talk about the most with me, but like when someone talks to me about like the show and about like recurring things that happen on the show, previously a lot of it was like, do you really hate Bill? And like that was always fun because I was like, what you think you hear on the air, it's actually 10 times worse. But then
you really lean into it.
People would be like does the Sirianni thing really bother you as much as it does? Like, yes, it does. It really does. And it's no one's real fault except really him.
That's what makes it so great.
Yeah, because it's like you can guarantee it. And like Sirianni, I gave him credit last week. Like when the question came up last week, like could this team come out flat? I'm like, I don't imagine a team with Sirianni comes out flat. I can imagine they wouldn't execute on what they're supposed to do. Like when they get down against the Rams, I don't think they're flat in that game. I just think that the game plan wasn't good enough. Like I think he's built a really good culture, and I think he deserves the flowers he gets. However, the pressers do drive me nuts, and it's not even so much the answers at this point. It's just the tardiness. I don't like tardiness. I've been very clear of this.
It's just like it's a loose time.
Yeah. Timing is approximate. I know. It's there. It's right there in the release. But come on.
You could never do afternoons then with Jalen Hurts.
Oh, no. Jalen's bad at it, too. But I don't deal with that. So, as I have said to many people who ask me about, like, I'm like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's where I'm locked in. That's my focus. That's my lane. I drive in that lane. I don't drive in any other lane. I drive at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, Sirianni, right now,
you're in my lane.
You are the slow car in my lane that I'm like, come on, get moving. Come on, get to the podium. What are you?
What are we doing?
Important meetings or something? You know that your job is to entertain us. But Sirianni's scheduled to speak to the media coming up, and we got into the conversation earlier today about finding the identity this early. I think the overarching identity for this team is win the turnover battle at all costs. And for the offense, it means protecting the football to almost a conservative matter in terms of the way you go about what you're doing offensively. Defensively, it's the fact that they're going to be opportunistic when the time comes. But offensively, we talked yesterday with Jeff Mosher, and we talked about, what can they learn? What can they take from that game? And one of those things was they tried way too much to force Saquon to get everything going instead of just getting everything going.
Like you said, it was one time it was 10 out of 17
10
plays.
out of 17. So from the touchdown they scored after the ball and interception until the big completion to AJ, 10 out of 17 plays
featured
were driven,
him in some way. Yeah,
featured into whether it was running the ball with him or a short pass to him. They were just trying to get him going, to get everything else going. And with the amount of talent you have on this offense, to me, that's the wrong approach, especially knowing that the way that opponents are going to play you. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, though, you look at this stretch they've had and where Saquon's been the driving force, and this 19 of 20 goes back to the last Buccaneers game where they have been dominant in that time. And can you really ask a team to change its identity when it's been that good, when it's had
the
that
Saquon
type of
Barkley
run?
identity?
Yes.
Featuring the run game.
Featuring the running back.
In the running back. In ways.
Those short passes are an extension of our running game. Don't you forget it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Don't you forget it. Well, it's been burned into my brain.
I mean, I feel like the identity is still there as far as you're not going to abandon the Saquon Barkley run plays or plays that look like runs, whatever they want to call the short yardage plays, just because he was such a feature of it. But at the same time, you have to adjust to what they're giving you, and you've not gotten anything from those plays. Saquon Barkley is running left, right, front, back, anything to get these short yardages, and it's just not. I know your line is still having a little bit of they got to come together a little bit. They're a little bit banged up. Obviously, we know about Lane Johnson going down last game, and hopefully he's back for this one. But because of that, and in that place, you have to then be able to pivot. It doesn't mean you're abandoning your identity, but it means your identity is evolving, because you got to go with what works. And that ain't working.
Evolving. Right. That's like a Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni buzzword right now. The evolution of what they're doing.
Yes.
Evolving into what they are supposed to be this year. And I think what they're supposed to be this year is driven by their stars, not just one star. But let's go listen to the head coach who's taking the podium. Here's Nick Sirianni.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Nick, when you watch the running game and Saquon on tape, what are you seeing?
I'm sorry,
Saquon, just the running game. What are you seeing on film from the running game right now, and what's kind of holding it back?
Yeah, obviously a lot of different things go into making any play work, run game, pass game, anything. So I wouldn't say there's one particular thing of it being efficient. We know we got to be more efficient with how we coach it, with how we call it, with how we with how we execute it.
You've been blitzed at a high rate through these first 3 games. How do you feel your built-in answers have helped Jalen when he's hot?
Yeah, those happen in different ways. All right, sometimes it's checked, sometimes it's built in. There's always different options with that, and. I think we've done a good job so far with it. I think teams do that to create chaos with it. And I think Jalen has shown that he's continuing to develop and become better and better at handling it. A couple things that happened in the last 2 games where he's made some big time plays with some pressures. You make those plays, and you don't stop seeing it until you make those plays. And I think when you see the Kansas City one to Devontae, there's been a bunch, but particularly the Kansas City one to Devontae, and then the touchdown against the Rams, that's going to put more and more fear into the defense to be able to run that. So I think Kevin's done a nice job and Stout and everybody involved on the offensive side of giving us answers, and I think that players have been executing that at a high level, particularly in that pass game.
Jordan Davis played at such a high level in these first 3 games. What does it take for a player to get to that point when maybe the early part of his career isn't as successful?
Yeah, everybody, I think we've talked about this just with a lot of things. I think everybody wants instant gratification. That's just not the reality of the sport. And I know there's a lot of guys there's guys that come in and play really good. But to reach your level as a player, there are steps to it. Just like I kind of talked about, there's steps to developing to play your best football by the end of the year. There's steps to it. And so I think the main thing that came to my mind was, patience. And again, I know we try to live different than the outside world here, because a football building's different than the outside world. We have to have our process. We have to have, our steps to reach our potential. And so, I think it's just a good example of a guy continuing to work, continuing to get better, because he should be playing better football now than he was when he first entered the NFL. He's put a lot of work into it. And has won and played in a lot of meaningful games and won against really good players in practice. I mean, it all contributes to that. And so, but I think at the end of the day, we always talk about in the draft process, you want to find guys that are tough, right? Jordan Davis is that, both physically, mentally, plays with relentless effort, and you want to find guys that love football. because God willing, those are the guys that tend to reach their ceiling, and I think that's just what you're seeing, is that's why it keeps getting better.
To get back to the running game, do you kind of see like the way you guys were able to establish the pass in the second half is something that could open things up for Saquon in the running game? I mean, I know it's kind of backwards, but
Yeah.
you see that's
Yeah, of course. Again, anytime they're keying in on something, and when you have the guys that we have and the coaches that we have, when they key in on something else, when you give a little on one end, you're gonna give up a little bit, right, and vice versa. So, every game and every situation and every scenario presents different problems, different things. We always want to be on the attack mode as an offense, and so again, we'll do whatever we need to do to win each and every game. Obviously, we want to build leads and get up on the opponent. But if we have to win a game like we won last week, we'll do that as well. So, I think we want to be more efficient. All right, in the run game area right now, and I think there's many different ways that can that could be a different scheme. It could be a different blocking technique. It could be the pass game. There's a lot of different things that could play into it.
Are you C.J. Gardner-Johnson back? Are you interested in bringing C.J. Gardner-Johnson back?
I really am excited about the room that we have. I think they've done a really nice job to date. Got a good young player in Andrew Makuba, who's continues to get better, and I think that having Reed next to him, is helping him get better. And just as how Reed got better, having Marcus Epps in the building, and Reed said that, I've said that in here before about, Marcus Epps. So just really excited about that room. Sydney's doing a really good job, doing a good job on special teams and doing some work on defense as well. So I'm really excited about that group and pleased with that group.
When you look at Tampa Bay's success that they've had against you, is there a consistency that you've seen over that time, or an inconsistency on your guys' part during that time?
Yeah, obviously, we've, dating back to 2021, I think, we played them in 21, and twice they beat us. We played them in 23. We split with them, and then obviously they beat us last year. So another team kind of like the Chiefs, where we've played them a bunch over these past 5 years, and so you're always looking at those old games to kind of identify the things that they did well, the things that you did well, to see if you can repeat them, and so that's always on our mind when we're playing a team is, what do we think they did well that they would repeat? What do we think that they won't do because we hurt them on it, and vice versa.
And what have you seen from them on film this year, first couple weeks?
It's a really good football team. I can't tell you how much respect I talked about how much respect I had for Coach McVay last week. The feeling is completely mutual for Coach Bowles and his staff. Man, is he a good football coach? And we played against him. I can think back to 2014 in a game we had when he was the Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator that they got us. I think we lost 19-17 or something like that. But he always presents problems. I think back to the 2019 when I was with the Colts. Where they got us 38-35. Just it always does a really good job of presenting problems, and I think you always look at that first, but then you see his team play with great fundamentals and great detail. Got a lot of respect for that. I think they've done a good job building the team. They got playmakers everywhere. Those two backs that they have are really, really good. I think Baker Mayfield's playing outstanding football. Receiving core, offensive line, Vita Vea, who's been there forever, feels like been there forever, right? And the things that he can do, two good corners with Dean and McCollum. Winfield's made a ton of plays. Levante David's been a star in this league for a long time. So they know how to win. And I think it's because, first, Coach Bowles, and then all the guys that they've had that's had a lot of success there. Like I said, Vita Vea's been there through all these wins, and Levante David, Winfield feels like he's been there forever. So a lot of respect for this opponent. And, there's a reason they keep winning their division. It's because it's a really good well-coached, good football team.
Went into the decision, Nick, to leave a day early for Tampa.
Yeah, everything we do is to try to give ourselves the best chance, that our process is right to give ourselves the best chance to win. If your process is off, then, you don't have as much of a chance. And so that was part of our process when we studied some things in the off season with the heat and everything like that. Get out there a day earlier to acclimate, one less day, off the plane before you play a game. So those are a couple things to name a few.
Different head coaches always stress different things. It seems like you've always really stressed and emphasized situational football. Was there a moment in your career where you decided that was something that really mattered to you, and why do you put so much emphasis into it?
Yeah, that's a good question, Elliot. I think when I first got into the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of learned that Patriot system / Parcells system, right? Todd Haley was a Bill Parcells, from his tree, and then obviously we had a lot of guys from the Patriots tree, which they always, put such good emphasis on situational football, having confidence, that when you're in situational football, that you've been through those things so many times that you're going to handle, that your process is right, that you're going to give yourself the best chance to handle them. And I kind of fell in love with that because, there are so many games in this league that come down to one-score games. Like the parity of this league's pretty cool. It's really, it's really cool. So, but those are the things like, I always think, in those scenarios when you can have that confidence because you've been through it 1,000 times. Those are key in moments like that where it's high stress. Like in high stressful moments, I don't know that phrase, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. I think I said it right. But and so, the team that builds better habits, is going to have a better product. And that's what we think a lot about.
Some of the past plays have been, it's been looked not particularly in sync, guys on top of each other. Is that a product of design or guys not running correct routes?
Yeah, we don't like to put guys on top of each other in the concept. So, yeah, there's multiple reasons for that. When you do have that, again, I believe you're probably talking about the one in the game because it didn't happen a lot, but there was one in the game in the LA game where we had two guys there. And when you see that, there's some sort of miscommunication that happened on the play. That could be from coaches, that could be from players, that could be from there's many different reasons. Obviously, I'll never come up here and say what it is, particularly when it's something like that. Even though I respect your question, but there's always a different reason when that happens. Our job, I think one of the biggest things when we talk about detail is we all need to be on the same page. Defensively, the easiest way to give up a big play is when you're not on the same page, and vice versa. And on the other end, when you're not on the same page as an offense, bad things tend to happen, negative plays, turnovers. Definitely not being efficient, so we, that's why we work so hard in the walkthroughs, that we're full speed to the snap and walkthrough and our mind's working, so we can eliminate those as much as possible. That's always something that when we review the tape, we're looking for that and stressing that in here. Hey, we got to be on the same page because this game too comes down to those matchups and the talent that you have, and we have great talent. But that talent can't shine unless you are on the same page. So we know how important that is because we talk about it a lot. Like master the things that require no talent, so your talent can shine.
Last one. With going a football building has to be
a little bit different than the outside world. When you hear the word like conservative, what do you think that disconnect is that people from outside maybe don't understand?
Yeah, I don't try to wrap myself into, what anybody outside this building thinks, or everyone is entitled to their opinion. We're going to do everything we can do to win the game. We want to make sure that, and I know I've talked to you guys about this a lot, we want to be explosive. Because we know that factors into winning games, and we also want to be able to protect the football and take the football away. I know those things don't always live in the same world. I think they can live in the same world. Obviously our success that we've had, they have lived in the same world. And so, again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. We can't wrap ourselves up in any of that. Our job is to figure out ways to win, to put our players in positions to succeed. Our players' job is to go out there and execute, play with great fundamentals and great detail together and tough. I think, what an example, too. I think a lot of people were saying that last year about our team, right? And, again, I'm not going to try to get back into last year too much, but if we would have caught ourselves so wrapped up in that last year, it would have affected the way. If you get yourself too wrapped up in that, or wrapped up at all in that takes away some of the time that you can put in to, doing what you need to do and go out in there and trying to win every game. So you can't get too wrapped up in that. And again, you always got to do everything you can do to win each and every football game, and every football game looks a little different.
All right, we've got special teams.
All right. There he is, your Super Bowl winning head coach, Nick Sirianni. The takeaways in a moment. But, all right, let's see. We got 83 you-knows. I don't know. Andrew in the YouTube chat's counting. I think he's counting the number of you-knows. I'm not positive. I don't know if it was the you-knows or the ums. But I think 83 you-knows was we had.
You do know, though.
You know. But to go into what we know from what he said, more efficient with the running game. Duh. Obvious. That was all he wanted to tell you. They want to be more efficient. There's various ways to be more efficient. Didn't go much deeper into that. The answers to the blitz was something that he had talked about a considerable amount there at the beginning. Good job. Teams are creating chaos against us. Credited Jalen for growing against the blitz. Devontae, the 28-yarder against Kansas City.
Right.
Touchdown late in that game against the Rams. And he used the phrase put doubts. So inside that building, it would appear they believe the answers that Jalen's showing right now to the blitz could put doubts in other teams. I can assure you that Todd Bowles is not going to get away from what's worked against the Eagles. But it's good to at least see they're giving credit to Jalen Hurts for what he's done early on against the blitz. They think their answers against the blitz have started to get there. And going up against the Buccaneers, it's better to feel like you have any sort of an answer to it as compared to not. Because I remember going into that playoff game in 2023, which I love, he said, we split in 2023.
Yeah,
they won the very important one.
Yes. Regular season versus the postseason is a big difference on the split.
But going into that game down there in Tampa back in 2023, you had no confidence they had any answers to a blitz, and it showed in that playoff game. I thought we were going to get a flower speech. You and I both went back and forth. We thought we were going to get a flower speech.
It was leading up to it, especially when he started talking about Jordan Davis and how he has come along and developed. I thought for sure this is it. We're leading up to the big flowery kind of metaphor.
I think he's been talked out of it. I think he's been told no more flower speeches. After the
flower
original
speech, he's done quite well since the flower speech.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he should have broke out the flower speech there because it sounded like he was getting towards it. He gave a few things going back to the running game, different scheme, technique, pass game as different reasons of why they could get more efficient.
Yeah, and there was the question that was asked about, usually the run sets or the pass sets up the run. Can you work it the other way? And he was like, yeah, anytime you're guarding against one, the other should be open.
Right.
Which is factually correct.
That's true. Excited about the room that we have was the way he began the answer to the question about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He did not touch that question
Excited
at
about the
all.
room.
At all. Danced away from that question. There was not a no. There was not a yes. There was just, we're excited about what we have. Great coach speak by one Nick Sirianni. Speaking of coaches, loves Todd Bowles. Which
he loves Sean McVay.
Yes. Raises the question that I have every week after listening to this presser. How do you feel as the coach before an Eagles game that doesn't get a flowery response from Nick Sirianni about how much he admires
Do
your
I like
ability?
him more or less?
Yeah.
So, when he's getting ready to face, pick a coach. They're like, oh,
Callahan from Tennessee.
Yeah, they've got, I would think you hear a lot more vague. They've got a good team over there. They've got some nice pieces. They're working their way through stuff. I don't know. I think you wouldn't have anything direct. I've got a lot of respect for.
Right. Yeah, he does a great job. Blah, 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 blah. But I just would wonder how you feel as the coach that doesn't get all that respect from him because he shows it to everyone. And
some guys sitting out there like, whoa, what about me?
Two more things stick out. Talking about getting acclimated. Yesterday, it didn't seem like Fangio felt like you'd be able to get acclimated one day in that weather. Sirianni seems to believe it's going to make a difference. He thinks they can get acclimated by getting down there a day early to Tampa, giving them the best chance to win. And on top of that, he mentioned last year. Again, we were all told before the season, when I mentioned it last year, you harken back to last year on that last question when he talked about noise outside that facility. Not a problem. I just want to point out when it's pointed out because I was told I had to forget about last year. Now, when there's a little bit of criticism, we're going back to last year. Just saying. A little different. All right. Coming up. We mentioned this earlier in the show, late in the 11 o'clock hour, about a streaming service that's figured it out.
Yes, you did.
Streaming service that just knows what they're doing here. Catering to one fan base amongst all.
Because they know you're going to want to see this. And so we're going to put this only on our services. So if you want to see it, you better subscribe or be really good friends with the person who is.
Because it's not the only Philadelphia sports-based documentary I believe they have coming out this month.
That is correct.
It's incredible. We'll get to it. She's Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider Update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm Austin Jones with your Birds Insider Update. The Eagles stand at 3-0 for the first 3 weeks of the NFL season, and they head down to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers, who are also 3-0. The Bucs are missing some key players, and one key guy that has done some damage to the Eagles over the years has been wide receiver Mike Evans, but he'll be out multiple weeks with a hamstring strain. Last week, cornerback Quinyon Mitchell was shadowing Rams wide receiver Devontae Adams, and perhaps Mitchell will be shadowing Bucs wide receiver Emeka Ibuka, who has 3 touchdowns on the season so far in his rookie year. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke to the media yesterday about Quinyon when he was following Devontae Adams.
I think he did fine. Obviously, he's a hard guy to cover. They had 2 really good receivers, so I think he did fine. When you're matching guys, it's not as easy as you think it is. There's the gymnastics of getting lined up, playing the call. Where did you end up on the previous play? How far away from the action were you? And you got to get back, get the call. Everybody thinks it's easy, but it's not, and I think he's done a good job.
Head coach Nick Sirianni just spoke to the media. You can catch that press conference at 97.5 The Fanatic. Practice is set to begin at 2:10 p.m. today, and Jalen Hurts will look to speak to the media around 4:45. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I don't think I will ever pick against the Eagles again. Because this team, we say it all the time, it's a cliche, they find ways to win, If you can't beat a team that comes out in the first half like that, I'm not sure anybody is ever going to beat this Eagles team. Because you look at that first half and it was ugly. The Eagles looked fortunate for it to be 19-7. And then you're thinking any momentum that they could have getting the ball to start the third quarter wiped away with a Jared Verse strip sack. It's 26-7. It's over, right, Ricky Bo? It's over.
Oh, it's never over with this team. It really, you know what? The biggest take I have out of this is that they went into the locker room, they came out pissed off. I mean, In a good sense. This is a team that was down 19 points at one time in this game. 19 points in football. That you usually don't come back from that. This is a team that has too much pride. This is a team that's going to keep coming at you no matter what. As a matter of fact, I was over at NBC yesterday. I said, this game is not over. This team, if they score coming out of the half, I said this could be a completely different game. And it turned out it was a completely different game. And you learned something. You learned a lot about the offense. You learned that the offense is still there. They can still click. And guess who's alive, ladies and gentlemen? A.J. Brown.
To see a little bit of fire in that case is nice because it's like, okay, maybe that is the step in leadership that a lot of people wanted him to have. And that is like the Brady-esque. I still don't think he's going to be the guy that breaks the Microsoft tablet and, starts to threaten the offensive coaches around him. But, you saw a decent level of, we got to figure this out. And I need you to do that for me when it came to Patullo.
Well, and I think that was the thing. I needed to see that because it's like when a manager or a coach sees something going wrong and they're not that. Rob Thompson, for example, right? And everybody's like, he should get tossed out. Okay, well, if you do it every single game, then you just become a clown and that loses its luster as well. So for Jalen Hurts to have that point of he's obviously seeing something. And that's where the give and take with an offensive coordinator. So we were talking about earlier with, is it a different play caller? Did something happen between the first half and the second half? No, but there could be that change in the relationship of, here's what I saw, now I'm giving you this input, and now we can change that because it is a collaboration. Right?
And for all we know, Patullo could have said to him, hey, man, get a little bit more aggressive. And Hurts
he said, all right.
All right.
That's what I told you I was going to do.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever pick against the Eagles again. Because this team, we say it all the time, it's a cliche. They find ways to win. They find ways to win. If you can't beat a team that comes out in the first half like that, I'm not sure anybody is ever going to beat this Eagles team. Because you look at that first half, and it was ugly. The Eagles looked fortunate for it to be 19-7. And then you're thinking any momentum that they could have getting the ball to start the third quarter wiped away with a Jared Verse strip sack. It's 26-7. It's over, right, Ricky Bo? It's over.
Oh, it's never over with this team. It really, you know what? The biggest take I have out of this is that they went into the locker room. They came out.
Here on 97.5 The Fanatic alongside Amy Vidul. I'm Ray Dunn taking you through the 12 o'clock hour. You just heard from the head coach, Nick Sirianni. A lot to break down from what he had to say and more.
He likes Andrew Makuba.
Yes, he does. He likes his room there for the safety room.
Likes his room.
Likes his room.
Seen some really good things there.
Didn't say anything against the idea of bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but certainly did say anything for it, which I understand. journalism setup here. You have to ask the question.
Correct.
The answer we got was the answer I expected.
Yeah, but you never know. You have to ask the question, but you never know.
Right. Yeah, you never know. Except in that one, I kind of knew where
You
that
kinda
answer was going. And just talking about the number of things, I'm very interested to see how they play in the Heat on Sunday and how we react to the acclimation of them going down a day early.
Yes.
It's an interesting change to the schedule, even though I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. Am I wrong in saying that?
You're not. No.
They didn't like the way they played last year in the Heat. I also didn't like the fact that they were down all those guys in Tampa Bay anyways. Maybe they didn't like the way they played at Kansas City.
Hey, there's no A.J. Brown in that game.
I'm just curious.
Devontae.
Like, Kansas City was a hot day as well down there, week and a half ago?
Yes.
Maybe there was a reaction to that. Maybe it's something that someone spoke up. He said it was something they talked about in the offseason. They made that plan based on offseason conversation. I just wonder, where it comes from, why they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like is it just putting it out there so you have that to kind of harken back if you need to later on? Oh, remember we did talk about this type of vibe. Yeah, remember when I brought up, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, good for them, I guess. An extra day in Tampa Bay is not bad.
But I like the idea that they're trying to do something to switch it up because you heard from some of the questions, there were two that were, pretty, hey, how do you attribute this kind of anomaly? And he even says, like, yeah, we've played this team a lot. Mm-hmm. It's like playing the Chiefs. They play the Chiefs a lot. It's a weird anomaly to play.
Like playing the Rams. They've played the Rams a lot in the last 18 months.
I mean, he's 1-5 against the Bucks?
Yeah. Andrew Salciunas, the only one that saw the victory.
So there you go.
He's the only one.
That was the regular season of 2023.
The more people I talk to, by the way, the more people I find that are going this weekend to this game.
Yeah, it was one of those. I mean, when you get the schedule comes out, April-ish, end of April. You look at it and you're all like, yeah, you look for the trips. And usually you look for a warm place later on because it does tend to get cold here in the months of December.
No way.
Didn't know if you knew that, December and it really at the end of November. So I look for that. Not for just trips necessarily, but also what games I might like to go to at the link. And I was surprised because once again, it was an early Tampa game. I thought, if you're going to give the Tampa game, what's wrong with December?
Right.
Is that just you can't possibly think about it? I've been to Miami in December. It's lovely.
It is lovely.
Tampa, great. Let's go.
Big fan of mine.
But in September, I think the degree temperature will be like in the 90s, but it'll feel like 100.
Yeah, it's not going to feel. I think the real feels 103 on Sunday. So it's not something I necessarily am looking forward to.
But I do like that they've put it out there. But he's trying to get something else, the mojo going. We'll go down early, maybe get acclimated. Guys can't talk about because they did discuss it last year. It was hot. It's hot down there.
You know, it's crazy. I think I've said this before on the air, but I don't know if I've said this to you. I have not been to an Eagles game since before the pandemic. Right? I mean, I've lived in the city the entire time.
You haven't been to an Eagles game in person in 5 years?
Yeah, it's the 2019. Remember the Deshaun Jackson, Washington, the opener, where you had the two big touchdowns? That was the last Eagles game I went to in person.
Wow.
I've been I went to Saints Bucks last year, week 18.
Well, that was because you were down
cheap
there.
Tickets. Yeah. Our buddy Josh, maybe that's why the Eagles are going down early. Maybe they're going to meet with our buddy Josh down there.
Shout out, Josh.
Yeah. Miss you, buddy. I know some people that are going down and going to see him this weekend.
Good old Josh.
Yeah, good old Josh. But something I mentioned,
Morning show's leaving Friday?
Friday, yeah, after the show Friday. So, and then I think they're doing Monday's show from down there.
I believe so, yes, correct.
Yes. Something that I mentioned earlier, speaking of shows and things you can check out, this Saquon documentary. The trailer for it dropped. It's great. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it as a guy who doesn't watch a lot. This is dropping October 9th.
You have to explain it, though. He has been recording himself for years. For this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild to me.
It's amazing. And it's amazing. Like, it's really calling your shot, too. It's like...
And you're backing that up. Like, someone's going to be interested in what I've got to say for the next several years.
Well, there's the other side of this, where if it doesn't work out for him, it's also an interesting story because...
I think it's interesting
doesn't play
regardless.
out. Like, if he ends up a bust, like, if he ends up never getting healthy again...
Highly recruited, goes to Penn State, great career, taken, top first rounder, the hope of the Giants, has that great rookie year, I can see it. So like the trajectory was good and the arc was on the way up, and you just wondered like if it had ended with the Giants and it just had stayed with the Giants, how much different this documentary would look.
And
it wouldn't be complete, I can tell you that. Not that it's complete now, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, the documentary can wrap with, like, the hook is he found a place where he could call home, he found a place where he felt valued, and he found a place where he succeeded. Like, that's the hook. Saquon Barkley, if he never did anything of note in the NFL again, would be a hero here forever. Still. Like, that's the hook to this documentary. Which is, like, the Kelsey hook was supposed to be the end of his career, and you see how that ended.
Oh, then we kept going. Yeah, it's incredible, and I really hope, and obviously I haven't seen it yet because it's not out yet. It's out next month.
Right.
I really want them just to drop in, and I guess they can't because it's proprietary. I really would love for them to drop in John Mayer. I'm going to lose a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
If he goes.
Well, and that's interesting because we're going to get different looks at that process.
At that whole process, because we saw the side of it when you watched Hard Knocks, the off-season edition. You saw the side of it of the Giants front office, the inner workings, the conversations they had. We don't want to lose you, but we're not going to pay you. It's basically what their overriding theme was. They wanted to keep him. They knew he was popular. It was said in all of that office had a lot of information. And the number one thing was, we'd like to have him. We're not going to pay him because we don't pay quarterbacks. The league doesn't pay quarterbacks. No one's going to pay him that. We'll be able to get him for cheap because we'd love to have him. He's so popular. I can't wait to see what Saquon's, because it's active. Like, there's videos that were going through that process that he's recording, and then obviously after the process.
And I just want to give Prime a shout out here because they realize one very important thing. Just keep making Philadelphia sports content, and people are going to subscribe.
Yep.
Kelsey, Saquon, and they got Allen Iverson, the documentary that's set to debut later in October. If there's one sports fan base you want to just appease to try and get some money out of,
about some of like the people that they're just like, oh, the guy that just had 2,000 rushing yards and helped us to a Super Bowl, gonna watch that. Allen Iverson, author of one of the greatest seasons to not win a championship in Sixers history, gonna watch that.
Yeah. Oh no, I think they've done a tremendous job. If they just want to stay Philadelphia focused, that's good with me. I don't need them to go do any more projects on anyone else. Coming up, a guy that was Philadelphia-focused in a take he had earlier this week, Cam Newton, was on First Take, talking about the teams that can compete with the Eagles in the NFC. And instead of defending the Eagles, I'm going to come to the defense of the Rams when we play this for you coming up. I'll explain all of it next. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies lost last night to the Miami Marlins 6-5, but Kyle Schwarber did hit his 54th home run on the season. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo's on the mound, and first pitch is set for 6:45. As for the Eagles, we all know that the offense was not flying high in the first half against the Rams, but in the second half, they exploded. Offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo spoke to the media yesterday about the offense changing their tune.
I think when we look back at the game, we were able to kind of make the adjustments we needed to get it going in the second half. You know, when you get in those moments, you do what you got to do to get it done. And I think that the guys were awesome at just taking into everything we needed to do and sequencing plays together and making plays and executing and getting it done.
The 76ers have announced the unveiling of their Hard Work Classic Edition uniform, which celebrates the 25th anniversary of the 2000-2001 Sixers team that made it to the NBA Finals against the Lakers. The team will debut the jerseys on October 8th against the Raptors, and the jerseys will be available for purchase on October 15th at SixersShop.com. This update is brought to you by ExpressPros.com. Getting a new job can be easier with Express Employment Professionals. With Express, you'll have a local connection to the job market. Get started at ExpressPros.com to find a location near you. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best sports coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Jalen Hurts just had to take charge. And nothing makes me happier. Nothing that I'm taking away from yesterday makes me happier than seeing Jalen Hurts get fiery, get a little angry, and literally telling his offensive coordinator, this is how it's run.
Yeah.
Period. No spin job, no nothing. This is how it's run. You don't have to be a lip reader to be able to see what he said.
Yeah, it was pretty clear.
And Kevin Patullo was the student, and the quarterback was the teacher. and everything changed.
3 days before kickoff, John Kincade had a random worry of Kevin Patullo that came out of nowhere. It was in the middle of the Phillies season, and John was worried.
It was in my head.
And I tried making you feel better by saying, well, maybe Jalen Hurts will be a big part of this offense. And through the first 2 weeks and half of week 3, he really wasn't, except for a few check-ins at the line of scrimmage every once in a while. But to your point, that moment yesterday, Jalen took over. And for all the Jalen Hurts naysayers, for all the doubters, for all the, hey, he's only good because of the players around him, that was the Jalen Hurts second half yesterday. Obviously, credit to the defense holding the Rams to only 7 points. But what Jalen Hurts did in that second half yesterday is why you feel so comfortable.
If you can't beat the Eagles when they play a first half like that, is anybody going to beat this team? Like, and that's not even hyperbole. I mean,
it's not going to be easy.
Listen to this, Ricky. Not only are they 3-0 on the season, they are 19-1 in their last 20 games. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how spoiled we are right now as a fan base? They have won 19 of their last 20 games. They're 17-0 when Jalen Hurts starts and finishes. Think about that for a second. 17 straight wins with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing the game. Here's another wild stat. Jalen Hurts just had his 19th straight game without throwing for 300 yards.
That's unbelievable.
They're 18-1.
Yeah, but you don't need
18-1.
You don't need it. I mean, this
you can't beat this team.
Jalen Hurts just had to take charge. And nothing makes me happier. Nothing that I'm taking away from yesterday makes me happier than seeing Jalen Hurts get fiery, get a little angry, and literally telling his offensive coordinator, this is how it's run.
Yeah.
Period. No spin job, no nothing. This is how it's run. You don't have to be a lip reader to be able to see what he said.
Yeah, it was pretty clear.
And Kevin Patullo was the student, and the quarterback was the teacher.
1 o'clock here on The Fanatic on WPEN, WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. In a second, we're going to play this first take audio from earlier in the week from Cam Newton for you, talking about the Eagles and who could compete in the NFC with them. But Austin Jones produced the program. What do we have on the text line?
Yeah, this text came in during the press conference, and they said, well, I was looking forward to seeing what Nick Sirianni would say about CJGJ's potential return, but with his response, totally took the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, so I just said in the last segment, I didn't expect anything different. I didn't think that he was going to, especially him who, loves to laud Howie, and I understand, why you would. I think we lauded Howie earlier in this show. He deserves to be lauded. But I think, especially him, he's not going to step on the toes of someone above him. We'd love to get him back.
Yeah,
and then if he doesn't
really
come
great.
back, it's like, well, why isn't he back?
Well, I wanted him, and now there seems like there's a disconnect between the coaching staff and the front office.
So,
and I don't think that that's the case.
I would not. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for those of you that were interested in hearing that and didn't get that. But I didn't think we were ever going to be getting that one. What else we got in the text line?
This is from Norman Mayfair. He said, this will sound like the get off my lawn guy, but I'm over the Spider Light show. I think it fires up the opponent when Duran comes in for the game, and they'll end up getting a hit because they're all pumped up. I just don't see it anymore. I'm over it. So we have our first complaint about the
I was waiting.
Is it the first complaint?
No, it's not the first complaint. As soon as the very first time they showed it, and they had like a picture-in-picture or whatever with a sponsorship or whatever it was. I think it was, it was full-on shown with a sponsorship. Immediate. Why is there a sponsorship on it? I don't know how to tell you guys how television works, but he gave up a home run that game. Or no, a hit. It was a blown save.
Yeah, he blew the save.
And then, of course, it was like, why are we showing this?
I don't know, Amy. Do you think the two things are related?
No.
The fact that you guys have been told to, show it and get a sponsorship, and now all of a sudden
people are just like, you got to show it. And I was like, well, if you want to show it, it's a commercial. So that's how
I
it
don't
works.
know. Are those things connected? Do we have to stop showing the entrance on television?
Maybe we should. But then people will freak out. And the thing is, one thing I've learned, you can't please them all.
Really? I'm learning that quickly.
I like
actually.
this production value of it.
Oh, I love it. I'm not anti it at all.
I think the reason people want to see it on TV, rightfully so, is because the only way you see that every single time is if you actually go to the games. You can't always go to the game.
True.
You got other stuff to do. You're working, whatever.
I've gone to my last game of the season. I've accepted it.
Have you really?
I've gone to the last game of the regular season, and I don't think I'm going to end up with postseason tickets. I'm just thinking about the resale. I'm not going to be able to get in, if on that. So
yeah,
it'll be weird for me to sit out
that
of
texter. What was Mayfair?
Norm.
Norm. You're not alone in that, but I think that's maybe a bit too far.
Yeah, a smidge too.
Maybe not really like. I think you need to dial it back a little bit. You can be like, maybe we need to not show the entire thing or whatever you want to do, but I still like it.
Oh, I love it. Sorry.
You like it, you love it,
yeah.
you want some more of it.
Who sang that song?
Oh, that's Tim McGraw.
There you go.
There we go. Got me worried there for a
I
second.
had Billy Joel on my mind.
Yeah?
It stuck
because
with
that
me.
was. That's true.
I would love to see Billy Joel try to sing I Like It, I Love It. I think that'd be very funny. Something else I found very funny. Cam Newton on First Take this week. Breaking down the Eagles.
Did you find it funny?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I'll explain why I found it funny. He talked about the biggest threats to the NFC following Eagles-Rams. I'm not actually coming to bat here for the Eagles. I will a little bit, but I'm actually coming to bat here for the Rams. Here's Cam Newton talking about the biggest threat in the NFC to the Eagles.
Rams the biggest threat to the Eagles?
Absolutely not. The biggest threat, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The biggest threat, Detroit Lions. The biggest threat, the Green Bay Packers. What does those teams have in common? They have the ability to generate offense. And this is not to say that the Los Angeles Rams do not have the capacity to, because they're still a threat. But when I'm looking at the stat line, it goes as follows: 10-7, 13-7, 16-7, 19-7, then 26-7. What is that telling you? Hey, we're in the red zone, but we kicking field goals. When you have a guy or you have a team down that is as talented as the Philadelphia Eagles, you cannot kick field goals and expect to win. And granted, let's not overreact here. They're a blocked field goal away from people saying, okay, can they be beat? Yeah. So let's just put that into perspective. But I'm disappointed in the fact that Coach McVay and the Los Angeles Rams, back with Matthew Stafford, did not have the ability to kind of push through when they were in red zone situations to score, because that's not going to do it versus that type of team.
So He is correct
Right.
in his assessment of you can't win kicking field goals that way. And he is correct in the disappointment that he displays when we're talking about Sean McVay and the in-game decision-making.
Mm-hmm. Which I get. Yeah.
To
agreed.
write off the Rams, though, for the fact that they don't generate offense is the issue I have there, because you have to look at that game so much as not them not generating offense. They weren't aggressive enough. They were able to generate offense.
They didn't generate the touchdowns.
Correct. It's a credit to the Eagles' defense what they were able to do. And the other teams that he lists, it's not as if through 3 weeks they've been flawless.
He lists the Packers, right?
Correct. Very much struggled in the generating offense category of things this past week.
They got 10 points.
So I understand. I empathize with the idea of, hey, these are other teams that could be a threat to the Eagles, but I'm actually going to bat here for the Rams, where I'm not writing them off as a threat in the NFC because they didn't generate offense against the Eagles. They just didn't finish the drives, and it's a credit to the Eagles' defense, a credit to the fact that they were not aggressive against that Eagles defense in terms of the fourth down decision-making
I was going to say in the
Sean
play
McVay.
calling. Exactly.
But Cam Newton writes them off here as not a threat in the NFC, and then lists, again, the Packers after the last weekend. I've been as high on the Packers as anyone. But
You can't include them in that conversation that you just said about the Rams.
right, because, again, not generating offense, score more than 10 points.
You got one field goal and a touchdown.
Right. So that was more, I listened to that, and I my immediate takeaway from it was, okay, the Eagles' defense doesn't get credit for the fact that they slowed them down, and that
He
of
basically
course,
said McVay wasn't aggressive, it wasn't good play calling, and then they can't generate offense.
right. So from my perspective, I had the Eagles' standpoint of things. And he also lists the Bucs, who have been able to generate offense. But if we're talking about, like,
I mean, they
wow,
needed a giant comeback. I mean, they needed to come back against the Falcons.
Yeah. So through 3 weeks, let's not get carried away with throwing the Rams out. And let's not forget to give credit to the Eagles' defense for what the Eagles' defense did in those moments. That was what I had issue with.
Yeah, I mean, I found myself agreeing with 2 points, and that is very rare when Cam Newton speaks generally. I'm kind of like, usually there's one somewhere, some kind of like way I can see my way through something he has said. But, yeah, he was right on a couple of things. And I do think some of those teams are going to be teams that you're going to hear from. But to discount the Rams, and then he also kind of walked it back a little bit, but to discount them in the way that you saw them generate that. So Davante Adams could have had, maybe a little bit more. Maybe I think it's more about completing everything rather than as a whole, because they certainly were able to move the ball between Kyron Williams, Davante Adams, and obviously Puka Nacua in the first half. And then in the second half, even still, with at least two of those guys. And Davante did not have the second half that he did in the first half, but Puka Nacua certainly did. And yes, Matt Stafford's going to show a little age, but I think that they weren't as innovative as they needed to be in order to take advantage, which was fine. The fourth down calls, we talked about that when you're going for it, or kicking the field goal in this case, and then leaving yourself open to that, because when things, we saw what could happen on kick field goals.
Yeah.
You get two of them blocked. It's a completely different thing.
And a lot blocked this weekend somehow.
Five?
I think it might have been six. Six, I think. There's 6 block kicks. That's
wild. It is wild.
Something else about that block kick that now has turned into John Kincade against Mike Florio on the old Bird app. The gloves are off.
Yeah,
People are battling over this one. Mike Florio had something to say on the Dan Patrick Show. We'll play that for you coming up next, and it's now set off an internet war. All right, let's get into it. Back-to-back weeks with Kincade beefing with the national voice. Oh, I love it. I love it. We'll come into that next. She's Amy Fanula. I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Start your morning off right with some coffee and Kincade and Salciunas.
You don't want to be.
But I will say this. Like, if you can't beat the Eagles when they play a first half like that, is anybody going to beat this team? Like, and that's not even hyperbole. I mean,
it's not going to be easy.
Listen to this, Ricky. Not only are they 3-0 on the season, they are 19-1 in their last 20 games. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how spoiled we are right now as a fan base? They have won 19 of their last 20 games. They're 17-0 when Jalen Hurts starts and finishes. Think about that for a second. 17 straight wins with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing the game. Here's another wild stat. Jalen Hurts just had his 19th straight game without throwing for 300 yards.
That's unbelievable.
They're 18-1.
Yeah, but you don't need
18-1.
You don't need it. I mean, this
you can't
offense,
beat this team.
I mean, for the most part, let's face it, this offense is very efficient for the most part in his time period here. I'm not saying the first 2 games of the season were real efficient, but you look at that second half in yesterday's game, that was efficiency. That was, you know what it was? It was almost like everybody got on the same tempo. You know what I mean? You look at the first half, they were getting it handed to them. And I'm not talking just score-wise, but like physically, the Eagles were getting it handed to them. And that, I think that surprised me the most out of all that happened in the game yesterday. I think the Eagles being out-physicaled in the first half and beaten badly in the trenches early on, I think that stood out to me. And then they said, no, we're not going to take it anymore. And they turn this thing around. They end up coming back. They end up winning on the scoreboard. And if you're taking it like last week, you have to take this win as a win. No matter what happened in the first half, you just got to take it. It's a win.
After that strip sack, the Rams score. It's 26-7. On the next drive, 5 plays, 89 yards for a touchdown, and you saw him go deep to A.J. Then he goes deep over the middle to Dallas Goedert. They follow that up with a 13-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. But for me, I mean, the best part of the whole day, that final drive in the fourth quarter, 17 plays, 91 yards. Do you know they picked up 4 third-down conversions on that drive?
Yep.
And a fourth-down touchdown pass to Devontae Smith.
Oh, my
Ice in the veins, man. Jalen Hurts, this is why he's so damn good.
This does not happen to a regular team. Let me put it this way. Almost every other team in the league not necessarily quits, but kind of goes on cruise control. Instead, they were like, you know what? We got to find our offense now. Let's kick it in gear. Let's see what happens. And I almost think it was opposite. Usually when you're in the lead, you don't go into cruise control until like halfway through the fourth quarter with that big of a lead. Instead, it was kind of like they played the Rams played a little complacent, and you know what the Eagles did? They smacked them right in the mouth.
Clock hour here on the Midday Show alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. That's right. Coming up next at 2, it's Unfiltered. I saw Silvana was in there talking to Austin. You know, since I've been sitting in this chair, I don't exist. You know, Bill still talks to me, which is nice. And Ricky will tell me that I'm number one.
I'll say he'll talk to you through the glass.
Silvana, it's like,
She got bigger stuff.
Yep.
She got bigger fish to fry. Okay?
I've forgotten the Ray exists here. It's all right. I get it. Not even a hello.
Because you sit there.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. You take this chair, and with this chair comes, I guess, just
responsibility.
Total ignorance of my existence, but that's fine. I understand how it goes. A little disappointing. A couple Temple people that did radio together in college, you would think they would be like, oh, hey, good to see you. Nope. What right by every single time. It's very disappointing. You hate to see it.
You got to
really.
talk to Austin, though.
Yeah, no, I got time to talk to everyone else around here. You talk to her plenty.
I do.
Nope. Whatever. I get it. See how it is.
Do you get it, though?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No. And we'll see.
Make sure, just to reiterate, that was a no.
we'll see if there is that type of icy back and forth between Mike Florio and John Kincade.
Oh, I think it's already started.
It has. So let's go chronologically
Yes.
here.
Okay, give us a little bit of the background and when it all
Yeah, I'll
nexus of it.
I'll get to the beef now, the beef that's going on now.
There's obviously beef.
After we play this clip. So Mike Florio goes on the Dan Patrick Show. And in case you've been living under a rock, Jordan Davis had a really big play on Sunday. He blocked that kick that won the game. But on top of winning the game, they covered the spread because he runs it back for a touchdown.
Yeah, the folks that had the Jets.
Oh, also the Jet. Yeah, the Jet. What else?
Yeah. Because you thought that, yeah.
The Jets.
If you had the Jets. Wasn't it 3?
Are we going back to the...
Oh, no, not the Jets.
I was like, the Jets?
The
I was like,
Rams.
because...
I was thinking about that happened in the Jets game, too.
Yeah, because the Jets also wouldn't have been covering the spread
Correct.
if the Bucs made the initial kick.
Yes, correct. Sorry.
I was like, oh, you have my brain in a
I was like,
pretzel there.
I'm staring at you like, how are we not talking about the same thing?
I could only think of Aaron Glenn's little strut when you said the Jets.
I started high stepping it too, and then gave you a little like.
All right, now that I'm not crazy.
Sorry, you're not crazy. The Bucs. I was thinking also happened to the Jets.
Yes,
Apologies.
the Rams.
The Rams. Yes.
The Rams were the opponent
game.
on Sunday.
Not the Jets.
Not the Jets. Famously, both those games, though, with big block kicks late in the game and the spread being influenced by it. But in this case, Jordan Davis blocks the kick. He takes it back. They win the game. They then cover the spread. Mike Florio goes on the Dan Patrick Show, and this is Mike Florio's takeaway from that moment.
You talk about gambling, and I'm watching the Eagles-Rams game.
I know exactly where you're going. Jordan Davis. Here's the reality. This is the direct result of the NFL going from hating and shunning anything to do with gambling to jumping right in bed and loading the pockets. They're the guy in the old game show where you go into the booth where the money's flying everywhere. Yeah. They're just grabbing as many dollars as they can while it's there. But yeah, we're all aware now of the point spread. We're all aware of the ramifications. And how many millions of dollars changed hands because Jordan Davis decided to do not the smart thing. The smart thing, the game's over. Just fall down. You got the win. Because in theory, somebody comes up from behind, does the Don Beebe to Leon Lett, the ball goes out, the Rams take it the other way. The smart thing to do is go down. He runs it in for a touchdown. The Eagles cover. Uh-oh. And it was perfectly legitimate, but when you open Pandora's box, this is the kind of stuff that flies out.
Uh-oh. When you open Pandora's box, stop it.
So
in his mind, Jordan Davis is aware of this.
So this is what we're trying to clarify. And this is where the
That's
beef
what
is
it
coming
seems
between
like
the two.
he's
Yes.
trying to say.
He's trying to insinuate that Jordan Davis runs it in because he's trying to cover the spread, which is insane.
Or that he's at least aware of it.
Yeah, which is insane. You just made an incredible play.
Yeah. How many times do you think Jordan Davis has visited the end zone holding a football?
After a dead sprint like that? Maybe in high school.
When he was playing both ways.
Yeah. Like, he ran over everyone and then just ran his way to the end zone.
Like come on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
The idea that in his head, he's we have to cover the spread. Let me pick this up and run with it.
Was even aware of anything like that.
Is insane. He wants to run it into the end zone because he wants to punctuate an incredible play for himself in that moment.
He's super stoked. He had a great game.
Did he make the wrong football play? Yes. Did he make the football play that in that moment he wanted to make? Also, yes. Like, he wanted to run that thing back because he picked it up. It's an emotional moment. In his mind, he's not having that ball taken from him. He's about to make an awesome memory for everyone.
He literally was carrying that football around the entire time.
Yes.
That's his football now.
He was thrilled about it. So it was an emotional decision for him of I just made this let's make this incredible play. Let's make this amazing moment. Everything flew out of his brain, I think, at that point of
see football, pick football up. Oh my gosh, I'm running. And then everybody's running with you. It's that positive peer
People
pressure.
Are yelling
Let's
him,
just
go.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
You're right. The whole crowd is going, 60,000 plus freaking
going
out.
crazy. You block the kick. You're having a moment. So go have your moment. Is it the wrong football play? Yes. Was it the football play that he made because of the emotion there? Also, yes. I don't think it was that, I got to cover the 3.5.
Or even awareness. But yeah, so Florio did walk it back a little bit, but not to that extent.
But so let's take the Jordan Davis emotion of the moment out of it. And let's just pretend for a moment that play was actually orchestrated by the NFL to cover the spread for the... You know how insane that sounds?
Well, there's people that think the whole thing is scripted.
But to Florio, you are the same guy that just recently was talking about how these things need to be uncovered with the NFL and all like this. Is this what you're trying to insinuate? That things are being fixed? That things are being fixed to
this
help
is what they need because they've gotten in bed with gambling companies and they're trying to have the cash grab, as he said it was like in that game show where you're just grabbing money and they don't care where it comes from.
It's just an absurd thing for him to go about.
It's a wild take.
Kincade, I think earlier today, before they played this audio, so this is before the morning show. This is the 5 o'clock hour this morning. God, he's tweeting before 6 a.m. That morning show life is just something different. It really is.
You imagine?
I try not to tweet between the hours of like midnight and like 8 a.m. I try to stay off of Twitter in those 8 hours. Those are like 8 hours of which I won't tweet. But this falls into that 8-hour time frame. And John says the fact that Mike actually believes that Jordan Davis was taking the point spread into consideration at that moment is the dumbest sports commentary I have heard this year. To which Florio responds, "Hi, John." Very nice of him to start the
Hi, John.
I never said that. Please rewatch and listen closely. The point is that the NFL's full embrace of gambling makes people think about these issues, which is exactly why the NFL opposed gambling until it realized it could make a ton of money from it. John responds, "But Mike, who are the people that are thinking this? Thinking that a player in the heat of the moment is worrying about this? If they are the crazy outlier. No player is concerned with it in that type of moment." Which, I gotta say, ding, 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 credit to John again.
Fair. That's fair.
Florio here is not necessarily wrong in the sense that getting into bed with gambling makes everyone question things. We all watched the Jordan Davis thing, and it was probably one of the first 5 things that popped into your mind, thinking about, wow, they just covered the spread. That's a modern-day part of the sports environment. That's fine. It was not one of the top 5 things that you thought Jordan Davis, actually in his mind in that moment, unless you're making a joke about it,
or that
actually
anybody
in his mind,
else
thought to cover the spread.
Right. None of the other teammates that are yelling at him run, his coaches that are like, the only time that things like that, what Florio is alluding to, comes to my mind is when you're lining up for a meaningless field goal or a meaningless touchdown. At that point, the game is in hand and you are aware.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Kentucky trying to score against Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin was certainly aware of it.
Amy's just trying to get Lane Kiffin thrown out of everything. All right, coming up. Speaking of Amy, I did this exercise yesterday with Kevin Cooney.
Yes, sir.
Philadelphia Phillies postseason lineups as they are, according to one Amy Fadul. We'll get to that coming up next. Wow. This is the Midday Show. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Last night, Kyle Schwarber hit his 54th home run on the season, even though the Phillies went on to lose 6-5. So they're looking to bounce back tonight against the Marlins again. Jesus Luzardo is on the mound. First pitch set for 6:45. As for the Eagles, we all know the offense was not flying high in the first half against the Rams, but then they erupted in the second half. And offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo spoke to the media yesterday about how things changed around.
I think when we look back at the game, we were able to kind of make the adjustments we needed to get it going in the second half. You know, when you get in those moments, you do what you got to do to get it done. And I think that the guys were awesome at just taking into everything we needed to do and sequencing plays together and making plays and executing and getting it done.
The 76ers have announced the unveiling of their Hardware Classic Edition uniform, which celebrates the 25th anniversary of the 2000-2001 76ers team that reached the NBA Finals against the LA Lakers. The team will debut the uniform on October 8th against the Toronto Raptors, and the jerseys will be available for purchase on October 15th, starting at SixersShop.com. This update is brought to you by ExpressPros.com. Getting a new job can be easier with Express Employment Professionals. With Express, you'll have a local connection to the job market. Get started at ExpressPros.com to find a location near you. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I can say the same thing, that Jalen Hurts earned his right to have that moment on the sideline because he's the damn Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
And he won that Super Bowl. Obviously, the defense was tremendous, but by throwing the football last year. You saw the second half, a totally different Eagles team from the first 2 games, but the same Eagles team from the last 2 games of 2024 when they won the conference championship in the Super Bowl. Quote that, damn it.
I'm still in awe that they found a way to win this football game.
Jordan
It's
Davis
incredible.
got some big paws, man.
Incredible. Listen, it wasn't only Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter getting the blocked field goals. I love it, and great plays by them. But it was also the film study coming in that they knew the launch angle from the kicker. They knew exactly where to line up over that guard, how they were going to get pressure and then immediately get their hands up. It was just, it's incredible. A lot of guys will just mail it in on special teams, just mail it in on a field goal block.
Well, they certainly didn't mail it in. As a matter of fact, I mean, that to me seems like this is one of those plays where Nick has taken very seriously in practice. And look at what happened. 2 blocked field goals? That doesn't happen in this game.
How about this? So our man Tim McManus, who joins the show every Thursday, covers the Eagles for ESPN, he tweeted out, the last time the Eagles blocked 2 field goals in a single game, it was exactly 50 years ago to the day of yesterday's game.
Was it really?
September 21st, 1975 against the New York Giants. 50 years to the day.
Gives a new meaning to that song. It was the 21st night
of September.
Midday show here on The Fanatic. Alongside Amy Thule, I'm Ray Dunn. Take you through the 1 o'clock hour here. And I asked this of Kevin Cooney yesterday. Give me the postseason line. Assuming full health.
Right, because you're asking basically where I put Bader,
Bohm,
who I start and when.
Right. Because then are you going to drop the platoons? Where exactly are we going with this? And I think I've found what I want my lineups to be. But it's tough because with the way Bohm's swinging it, and they seem to think with the time off that's helped him, they're going to have time off with this bye. It would take a collapse of epic proportions over the next week.
Don't even say those words out loud. Okay?
It would take a collapse of epic proportions this week for them not to end up with the 2 seed. So they'll get the bye. So he'll be coming off of the bye. He's also going to get a day between games 1 and 2, a day between games 2 to 3. Knowing that, where am I putting Bohm in my lineup? Also knowing that JT's not exactly swinging it too hot right now. And what Bader's been for this team so far, even though I, as big a fan of Harrison Bader as I was, didn't think that they would move him to leadoff. But I do. I'm a big fan. I think I've found what I want my lineup to be, but I'm very uncertain for a number of reasons. Amy Fadul, let's start with your lineup against the right-handed pitcher.
Yeah, I'm not going to have. I don't want to differ too much. I don't like having too much variation.
Okay, so you're not platooning.
I'm going to platoon one, but I'm not
Okay.
going to platoon both. Is that
one
fair?
outfield spot? You mean?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, I agree with
One
that.
outfield spot.
Yes.
Your thought. I don't know what Sosa's going to look like as far as like trying to. Stott's been swinging it, so there's no platoon there. Is that what you're alluding to?
No, I'm still platooning there, but I've started to find that I'm more the outlier. You and Kevin both against that. I imagine, given the way our fan base has talked about platoons all season long, that I will be one of the few still left platooning Stott and Sosa in this world.
Really, you still would platoon even after what you've seen from Bryson Stott?
He's hit it well. Maybe. Yeah, probably. I mean, I have to see what Sosa looks like coming back tonight. And I imagine he'll be in the lineup tonight, assuming he's activated. They waited a day to activate him. If he looks terrible swing-wise over the next 5 days, very easy decision then. Okay, Stott, go get him every night. But okay, let me roll through what your the top three. I'm assuming we are in agreement. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, the way they've done it all season long.
Turner, Schwarber, Harper.
Yeah.
So the big question comes, what are you doing with the cleanup? Obviously, when Bohm went out, you moved. Even before then, you had JT.
Realmuto had been up there.
I've got Bohmer back at cleanup.
Uh-huh.
This is interesting to me because I know where they've batted JT Realmuto a lot. I'm going to put the man who's been swinging the hottest bat since he went 0 in April 5th.
Oh, okay. Against the right-handed pitcher, yes, I agree with you on that.
There you go.
So Marsh will be.
You said right-handed. That was the directive I was given.
So we're the same, 1 through 5 right now.
Okay. Then I've got Bader. Because
We're
you
the
know
same,
I
1 through
enjoy
6.
him 6 and then 7 and then 8 and then 9. You notice I didn't say the catchphrase the kids all love.
Yeah, yep.
And then I've got, you see my, I get it. And then I've got Kepler, JT, and Stott.
Kepler, JT. Okay, so we actually have the same here, which.
Do we?
Yes, against right-handed pitching, we have the same lineup.
Okay.
I was struggling with this because JT.
You were going to go JT, Kep, Stott?
JT, Kep, Stott. Was thinking about that for a second, but then thought you go through a run there where you flip over the order where it's 4 or 5 lefties. So then you just give yourself. Yeah, so I had to break that up.
Kep, JT, Stott.
I struggle with putting JT at 8 in the lineup. Given the struggles recently, it shouldn't be a struggle there for me. But
he has shown.
I feel like
veteran guy.
Again, that's the hard thing for me. If I'm trying to do what Thompson's going to do, is he going to bat him 8th?
Probably not.
And then who are you moving down there?
That's the
problem. Bader can't be moved down there because he's swinging too good of a bat. Bohm shouldn't be moved down there.
And Marsh shouldn't be down there.
No, I think Marsh should bat 5th, especially against the right-hander.
That's why I put him in there.
And that Bohm-Marsh stack right there does concern me a little bit, just given how how much in his head Bohm can get and the way that
only other option
Marshall
would be flip-flopping JT and Marsh.
And then you're going, what, 3 lefties in a row at the bottom?
You're always going to, That's but like, where else would you go, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Are you moving Bader up to 5 and then moving someone down? Like, are you moving Bader to 4, then Bohm down? Like, I think this is the lineup that makes the most sense to me. I just question whether or not they're going to do it because of the whole veteran thing.
The only and that would be a very hard conversation. And JT has certainly garnered enough respect to at least attempt him higher up than where his batting average currently should put him. Because if you go on metrics alone, recent bat, no to 4, no to 5, no to 6 for me. Mm-hmm. But a guy like that commands a lot of respect, certainly is a guy that has performed at times this season, and what he means to your pitching staff, that battery that they have, and what he means to your clubhouse in general. Yes. My thing is, the only reason I wouldn't move Bader up is because I enjoy how much he sets the table for that lower half of the lineup. That has been a real problem spot, and I do think he has been a big reason for those guys, Brandon Marsh,
right,
Bryson Stott, those guys coming
putting a little
up
pressure on,
and being like, oh, this guy's setting. He's our leadoff guy. If you want to look at it like that, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't. That's just me.
All right.
Max Kepler obviously turned his season around as well.
Then against lefties.
Oh.
Turner, Schwarber, Harper.
Correct.
I assume you're going to keep Bohm in the cleanup spot.
You're looking for a Casty here, aren't you?
I'm not. Are you going to put him there?
No.
Come on, you're putting there. Everyday center fielder?
I'm putting Harrison Bader up at 5.
At 5.
I am.
Yeah, I agree.
For this is left-handers. And because it's the left-handers, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm comfortable for him moving up. And then I'll put Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, I think they might.
You could go
that.
JT and then Nick Castellanos, right? That would be
now listen,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Rob Thompson, at this point, it's win at all costs. We've seen what's happened with the Castellanos. The fact that Castellanos is in a platoon is enough. The world in which he bats Castellanos 8 in a playoff game.
Listen, he's in. Check.
Yeah, I know.
You're playing. What else do you want? I'll send you a text message with the lineup. I mean, listen, he said, I appreciate a lot of things about Nick Castellanos. I honestly do. I think that he has absolute value. I think the way that he plays and the swagger, he has that. He great hit last night. I think he has a lot of value on this team. But I think you also have to look at if you're setting yourself up, and Nick Castellanos said himself, I'm here to help Philadelphia win a World Series. If they come to you, and I know that there's been, on his mind, a lack of communication. I can appreciate that. I'm sure that's very frustrating for him. That's his perception, and that's his reality, right?
Sure.
But if they come to you and say, this is the best lineup, and you put all the numbers next to it, how could you argue that? How could you argue that?
Because he believes he's better than his numbers.
Well, and that's the thing. That's his argument. But the feel of it, and it's not, these are not set in stone. That's my thing.
I would bat him sixth. I would bat him sixth.
You'd bat Nick Castellanos sixth.
Over Marsh, Realmuto, Sosa?
Oh, I forgot you have Sosa.
I still
See, I
have
don't have Sosa. I still have Stada.
And you have stopped moving from 9 in your lineup against lefties? I mean, yeah, if he's batting 9 against righties. I think it just at that second base spot. And again, if he comes back and he doesn't look like himself at Mundo, because Mundo didn't look like himself moving on the field.
Castellanos 6. You have
6.
JT 7.
I have Marsh 7.
Marsh
Realmuto
7.
8. Just because I'm planning for later in the game when they're going to start moving. Actually, that might be
wait a minute.
A good call from you. Because if I'm going to get Kepler in there, I wouldn't want to go Kepler.
I was going to say, I literally have his name circled.
Yeah, so I might actually want to go to, but now then you're going to run to the 4 or 5 lefties. You might actually.
That's going to happen.
Marsh might.
You want to move him up to 5.
I'm not. No. He would move up to 6 in this reality. But then again, I end up stuck.
There you go. Nick Castellanos at 7.
Castellanos might just have to 8. I might just have to make the executive decision.
I just feel like if he's true to his word. And I do believe he is. I think it has been very frustrating for a lot of reasons for Nick Castellanos. I appreciate that. But if you are all in on wanting to win a World Series and we come to you and say, this is how we have to stack the lineup, and I know it's not ideal. I know it's not ideal for you to bat 8th. But against left-handed pitching, this is where we need you.
Yeah, Casty 7th. Marsh moved back up to 6. I'm flipping Bader and Marsh against the lefty. Then my top 6 will be the same except for that.
Okay.
And then Realmuto stayed 8. Your second baseman bats 9th, and your right fielder bats 7th.
Okay.
So it actually ends
Kepler. That's actually pretty close.
Yeah, it actually ends up getting.
Yeah, mine is not that much different. I keep Stott in. You are platooning him and Sosa, which I'm fine with. And I also think, again, this is not hard and fast. I think there could be instances down the road where maybe you had kept Stott.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now we're going to give Sosa.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the way they handle that the rest of the way. I'm interested to see the way Sosa looks out there because I was at the game.
Supposed to be activated today.
The night that he left the game, I was at the game, and he did not look mobile out there at shortstop. He looked very slow.
And after watching Bryson Stott play short, you can't go backwards. He plays a great shortstop.
We're not moving Turner to second.
I'm not saying no. I would. I'm just saying,
for
like
tonight,
right now,
while Turner's out. Yes,
if you're looking at it, you're talking about like the lack of mobility. Like, no, Bryson Stott plays a good shortstop.
Sorry, I thought we were going back to an oldie.
No. Oh, yeah, an oldie but goodie.
Yeah.
Trey Turner's in the outfield.
It's like, no.
What month is it? Is it April?
Not right now.
I looked at you. I was like, wait, what? No,
Stop it.
I was talking about for tonight.
All right, for tonight, we'll look at tonight coming up as we break down Phil's Marlins again. Yay! Oh man, those Marlins. Trying to get to 500 for the season. That's the goal. Will they be able to get to that because of the way they play against the Phillies? We'll see. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Rick.
But I will say this. Like, if you can't beat the Eagles when they play a first half like that, is anybody going to beat this team? Like, and that's not even hyperbole. I mean,
it's not going to be easy.
Listen to this, Ricky. Not only are they 3-0 on the season, they are 19-1 in their last 20 games. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how spoiled we are right now as a fan base? They have won 19 of their last 20 games. They're 17-0 when Jalen Hurts starts and finishes. Think about that for a second. 17 straight wins with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing the game. Here's another wild stat. Jalen Hurts just had his 19th straight game without throwing for 300 yards.
That's unbelievable.
They're 18-1.
Yeah, but you don't need
18-1.
You don't need it. I mean, this
you can't
offense,
beat this team.
I mean, for the most part, let's face it, this offense is very efficient for the most part in his time period here. I'm not saying the first 2 games of the season were real efficient, but you look at that second half in yesterday's game, that was efficiency. That was, you know what it was? It was almost like everybody got on the same tempo. You know what I mean? You look at the first half, they were getting it handed to them. And I'm not talking just score-wise, but like physically, the Eagles were getting it handed to them. And that, I think that surprised me the most out of all that happened in the game yesterday. I think the Eagles being out-physicaled in the first half and beaten badly in the trenches early on, I think that stood out to me. And then they said, no, we're not going to take it anymore. And they turn this thing around. They end up coming back. They end up winning on the scoreboard. And if you're taking it like last week, you have to take this win as a win. No matter what happened in the first half, you just got to take it. It's a win.
After that strip sack, the Rams score. It's 26-7. On the next drive, 5 plays, 89 yards for a touchdown, and you saw him go deep to A.J. Then he goes deep over the middle to Dallas Goedert. They follow that up with a 13-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. But for me, I mean, the best part of the whole day, that final drive in the fourth quarter, 17 plays, 91 yards. Do you know they picked up 4 third-down conversions on that drive?
Yep.
And a fourth-down touchdown pass to Devontae Smith.
Oh, my
Ice in the veins, man. Jalen Hurts, this is why he's so damn good.
This does not happen to a regular team. Let me put it this way. Almost every other team in the league not necessarily quits, but kind of goes on cruise control. Instead, they were like, you know what? We got to find our offense now. Let's kick it in gear. Let's see what happens. And I almost think it was opposite. Usually when you're in the lead, you don't go into cruise control until like halfway through the fourth quarter with that big of a lead. Instead, it was kind of like they played the Rams played a little complacent, and you know what the Eagles did? They smacked them right in the mouth.
Oh, welcome back. Final segment here before Unfiltered. We just saw Billy C. He's excited for Red October.
He is.
Which, if Bill's excited for baseball, it must be getting good.
It must be getting close to exciting times.
Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, Austin Jones producing the program. Austin, we head back to the text line here. I'll give you a second to get to the text line because I realize I did the thing as a host where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Just throw me a text here. Throw me a text here, Austin. What do you got?
All right, no problem here. This is Joe from West Philly. He says, I think the Philadelphia Eagles defense has basically been dominant the second half of all 3 games, whereas the offense has been up and down. I think the defense leads this team.
I guess if we're talking identity-wise, if that's maybe what he's trying to get back into, that original conversation that we had, yeah, defensively, I think that became a big part of the identity for last season, and it's been the first couple weeks. You were here when Sean Rodman broke out the first half, second half thing, and
correct.
I took that paper from him, and I intended to go back and really try and
trying to
decipher through all of it. You know what? Let's just ignore numbers, go with the eye test here. That defense, they found a way to do it in the second half of games. It's been pretty impressive, and early on this season, that's been the calling card. That second half, they figured it out, and that's a part of their identity. The adjustments they make, it's a part of the identity, really, of the defensive coordinator.
Well, and that's what we saw last year, is talking about the adjustments. It was a mixed bag, not so good in the first half, which wasn't even the first half, before the bye. And then even out of the bye, there was still like, okay, there's still a lot to clean up. And I remember, we were here talking like, oh, if this defense could get to be like a middle of the pack, like a 13th or 14th ranked defense, the way that the offense was rolling, you thought that was going to be good enough. And then you saw what they turned into and the way that Vic Fangio molded them. And the players have all talked about it, how he has helped bring them along, what they saw in his vision, and how they all bought in. That's the most important thing. So you're seeing it now, and I think it's a quicker uptake because the groundwork was already there. And now it's just other guys that are getting in on it, and other guys that, like a Jordan Davis, that have, as he put it, has put the work in the dark that's now coming to light. Now people are actually seeing what he's been doing and trying to get to the point where he's making the impact and is playing 70+% of the snaps. I mean, that's a big factor.
Yeah, it is. And we'll always talk about their identity, looking at defensively like we just laid out. But to offensively, I just saw something pop up. Zach Berman, who has the book coming out, does a tremendous job covering the Eagles, now back with The Athletic. Just put this out, which is interesting when we talk about what they could be offensively. Eagles' success in the no-huddle was clear in the second half on Sunday. It was seen with the passing game. Mm-hmm. Could it be a recipe for the running game? Consider this. On the season, the Eagles have had 5+ yard rushes on 40% of their no-huddle rushes compared to 32% with the huddle. Sample size plays into account, but so does this factor. Defenses have had 6 or fewer defenders in the box on 69% of no-huddle rushes compared to 44% of huddle rushes. The Eagles, I'm not saying we go back to Chip Kelly level of tempo, but tempo for them is a very different thing because they take it all the way down to 2 seconds left in the.
This is not like the constant 2-minute drill.
Snap it with 25 seconds left in the. Yeah, but tempo might be the answer to some of the problems they're having. Just because switching out personnel against this Eagles offense is, it kind of behooves you. Mm-hmm. Dropped a behoove there.
Well done by you.
Who's a big behoovesman? Andrew DeCecco. Big behoovesman.
He is.
Loves a good behoove.
It does. It behooves us to acknowledge him being a behoovesman.
And it would behoove us in terms of watching the Eagles for them to.
Well done. You brought it back. Didn't know where you were going.
I think to go tempo. I think maybe what we're looking at this point, tempo for them until they really figure out what they are offensively might be the best case. And maybe you don't find it out necessarily in that way because maybe that's the identity they have to go to.
Well, we saw a lot of the pressure the last 2 weeks, and I think that created some of it. But when you watch the second half and the way Jalen Hurts operated and the way that he worked through, the ball was quick out of his hands. And so if that's what you're leaning on as far as when you're talking about tempo and that kind of quick progression through your reads, I've got this decision. If it's not there, I'm going right here. I feel like you saw it was I'd love to see the timing of it all because it just seemed like everything was happening at a quicker pace, not at a fast pace, like a 2-minute drill. When you were talking about Chip Kelly, where they're snapping the ball with so much time left because that was the way that they operated. That was to keep defenses off, and it did until it didn't because then you're just making mistakes. We all remember exactly how the Chip Kelly experiment ended, but I do think that there is something to it because then you get in the rhythm, and so now this is how I'm operating. I know what to do. And I'm not having to think about, that's not the right word, but I'm saying you just don't have to dwell on anything. You still think about it, but you're not dwelling on anything.
It's something I don't want to dwell on or overthink is the Phillies losing streak. Tonight, 6:45.
Jesus Luzardo.
Phillies, Marlins, Jesus Luzardo on the right side of this matchup. I don't even want a rivalry.
Sure.
I was there for the Bryson Stock Grand Slam 2 years ago.
So it's always a little bit of fun. Yeah. But when Marlins have been playing, they're not mathematically eliminated, so it's a really far out possibility. But they've been playing good ball.
Interestingly enough, and this is not you're not going to raise a banner for this, but their road record this season, they're 41-38 on the road. They're better on the road than they are at home.
Well, in fairness, is that really a home field advantage?
Exactly. But it's interesting in the sense of I think they have the 3rd best road record of any team in the National League. If they just did what they did outside of Miami,
they'd be a playoff team.
Inside of Miami, they would actually be tremendous. It also begs the question, a team that gets away from Miami being better than they are inside of Miami,
Maybe.
what's happening in Miami.
It's the comfort of home. There's a lot to do in Miami.
A younger team,
Good
a group that's getting
times.
experience. I'm just saying, if you drop a lot of young guys in Miami,
And maybe they'll
they'll probably be less
South Beach.
productive than they would be elsewhere. I'm just saying, it could be a theory. Just throwing something out there.
All I know is they're going to have at least one or two guys that in 10 years are going to be perennial all-stars.
Yeah.
Every year they do that.
They've won 7 in a row, and they are 3 games under 500 for the year. So the goal for them the rest of the way has to be just to get to
Finish
81
500.
wins.
Yeah, finish 5.
The goal for the Phillies is
Win tonight.
get that second
get
bye.
A win.
Get a win.
They're going to get the second bye, but just get a win. Get a little positive momentum. Have some things that go well for you.
Yeah.
And not just one or two, multiple things.
All right,
3,
spin the
4.
wheel. Veteran that gets the off day today. I mean, JT feels like the obvious
Depends
answer.
on how Bryce Harper's feeling because he was sick yesterday.
Yes.
So I would think JT with the finger, that's
Yeah.
probably going to be your guy that's going to sit.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Round and round.
I don't need anybody else to sit. No, thank you.
Where it stops, I guess nobody goes. All
I
right,
don't-
sounds good. JT gets the day off.
Who else would you? I don't know. Alec Boehm's swinging a hot bat? No. I know you want to get Sosa some work. He's available. No,
Yeah.
he's not starting over Bryson Stott.
Well, he'll start as the second baseman.
Oh, well, that's true. I forgot.
And no Turner.
Kind of blinked out.
Turner's
for a
got
second.
plenty of off days.
I got blinked out for a second. Oh, yeah, you know what?
Hamstring still
Give me
bothering me.
Sosa in there. Weston Wilson, second base has been a lot of fun. But no. How about them attributing, and I understand how it works, and I get it. Don't come at me. I know it's the guy throwing the ball that's almost always going to get the error. But you're telling me Weston Wilson, he doesn't deserve the error on that throw in from Bader? Stop it.
Yeah, no comment. You know where I'm going to come down on that one.
I know.
I know if we start talking errors before the 2 o'clock show, Ricky will just throw
Ricky's
out their
with me
entire.
on this one.
Yeah,
He,
I know
he
he is.
understands why.
That's
I know.
all
I
the time
get
we
it.
got.
I know why.
Amy,
Sorry.
always a pleasure.
Thank
Enjoy
you
doing
so
this
much.
with you. I'll see you Friday at
See
Media
you
Day.
Friday at Sixers Media Day.
Austin, I'll
Thank you,
see you
Austin.
tomorrow. As for us, that's it here. Midday show. I'm Ray Dunn. Hope to talk to you again real soon right here. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Classic Edition uniform, which celebrates the 25th anniversary of the 2000-2001 76ers